welcome back to the INVICTUS stream. My name, as always, is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and we are here tonight with a adventure to chill your bones. But before we get to that, let me introduce tonight's guest stars. We are joined once again by the super talented Mr. Gary. Oh, I removed him from stream. Oh, there we go. Mr. Gary Furlong.
Howdy, howdy.
My very good friend, Mr. Chris Viseau.
Good evening.
And of course, we are joined tonight by the GM extraordinaire himself, a Mr. Timm Woods. And we are here tonight with Call of Cthulhu, the Outlaws of Desolation Peak. Whoa. This is a first. This is officially the first Call of Cthulhu game I have ever played on stream, and I'm pretty sure the first really the first one I've ever played in general. So I am so freaking pumped for tonight.
And it's an honor for me to return the favor you did me, running me my first Call of Cthulhu game, Harlan. So thank you for having me. We get to be each other's
first, Tim.
So it's just beautiful. It's beautiful in that way. RPGs are great, and I'm very excited to run Call of Cthulhu. I think it's my favorite RPG to run, and this is an adventure, as I kind of mentioned off camera, I've gotten to run twice before. I have access to it courtesy of the Cult of Chaos. I would actually like to say that a little important note here. This adventure was written by Jonathan Meadows and edited by Todd Gardner. I believe it won kind of the contest to be part of the Cult of Chaos and get run at the convention. I think it was at PAX Unplugged where I ended up running this. And it was only after I got to test run it with one of my after school program groups of students who did, at both groups, did an amazing job with this adventure. And I'm very excited to kind of get to run it with you all today.
That's so exciting. I'm excited to follow the shoes of children who have played this adventure and trounce them. No,
absolutely, we're gonna win. We're gonna beat them.
We're gonna win because that's what role-playing games are really about.
Especially Call of Cthulhu.
Especially Call of Cthulhu and the Green Knight, as we all know. Chris doing his own way and beating. Beating the bad guys.
Absolutely.
Kevin Smith said, Tim
that
Woods.
is my friend Kevin. Hey, Kevin. How's it going?
Hey, Kevin.
Good to have him here. Excellent. Kevin has actually not played in this adventure, but he did play in the other Wild West adventure I got to run at the convention, which we might get to do at some point. Who knows? But this will be fun because he doesn't know this story, so he'll get a treat tonight.
Kevin, sit back. You're in for the ride of your life, friend. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. We are so excited. We're going to get right to the game in a second. I do want to mention, of course, a new episode of Dice Shame comes out tomorrow morning. We have a new episode of Malevolent coming out next week. So a week tomorrow, or tomorrow on Sound Booth Theater Live. So you can check out both of those shows very, very soon if you are interested. Beyond that, Gary, anything major that you got coming out?
I'm in an audio drama. I don't know why I'm talking like that. That is not in keeping with the theme at all. An audio drama called Presence to Play, which we're currently recording right now. So I'll give you more updates on that.
Like as we're doing this? Is that why
right
they're like
second? They don't know I'm here. So if I just it's like you'll know.
Okay.
No.
You're that talented. And of course, we have to do a shout out to the amazing Timm Woods. You can get his book, Random Tables, Cities and Towns. For example, if you needed a criminal, you could do a pickpocket. If you rolled a 1, a classic vagabond. Disguise helps this individual, quite possibly a child, to hide in the crowd. Amazing book. You can get it on Amazon.
One of the many criminals you could roll on the criminal table. One of the many options.
I still love the garbage table. I go to it often. I love that garbage table.
You know why? Because D&D characters love to go through garbage sometimes, or alternatively land in garbage.
I have done it myself. Joe and I are playing. She's sad she couldn't be here tonight. She needs to work on some of her own stuff, Dice Shame. But we are playing Waterdeep Dragon Heist on our own time, just the two of us, a little couple campaign.
Good one.
And this book has come in very handy for her while I am rooting around in the garbage of Waterdeep. So shout out to its use. Make sure you check it out. Timm Woods. This guy. Wait.
Absolutely.
That guy. But that is it. I think we're ready to go into the adventure if you guys are.
Oh, so excited.
So excited?
Who couldn't love Call of Cthulhu in the Wild West.
No.
Absolutely. Call of Cthulhu in the Wild West, I think, is such a fun little niche genre. It's so unique. It's, I think, always fun to do Cthulhu in context where you're not fully expecting it, and then find the ways that it kind of like pretty much corrupts every genre. It's a lot of fun.
Harlan's like, do you want to play Call of Cthulhu in the Old West? And I was like, answering my text wearing my cowboy outfit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Already dressed. We doing this
let me
one.
get
Yes, I will.
let me get this
Just hat
hay order
descends
off
from
the
above.
truck.
That's right.
You were just telling me that you had hay delivered to your farm.
Yeah,
So
like
you're
40
like,
bales.
let me just get this hay onto the field to feed the horses.
Then I'll try my best to
And
role play.
I'll see if I can't get out of this and become something else entirely. Well, we are so excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Call of Cthulhu, The Outlaws of Desolation Peak.
They say the town of Desolation Peak lies on the edge of a cliff as far away from civilization as it gets. Word around town is that the railroad's coming soon, but until it does, Desolation Peak is on its own. I know what you're asking yourself, why would anyone want to live in such a remote town? Well, the answer is simple, and like most things in life, comes down to greed. They say there's gold up in the mountains, and many men have set out for Desolation Peak, intending to build their fortunes, paying no mind to the lives of the families they drag along with them. They say it's a town of widows, a town of orphans. Law and order don't exist in Desolation Peak. I mean, sure, the town has a sheriff, same as any other town, but they elect new one each week, if that tells you anything. The mining office is distraught because as new bandits have moved into the area and Black Jack Ketchum and his hole-in-the-wall gang have started to make their presence known, it shut down their lucrative mining operations. And that's why the Pinkertons have decided to step in. The trip out to Desolation Peak for our little posse was anything but uneventful. We came under an attack and we lost some good friends. But Desolation Peak is finally within sight, and then you get a bad feeling in your stomach. Dark cloud seems to hang solemnly over the town, and you can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. And as we look around, we see what remains of the posse that was sent from the nearby New Mexican town that is later to be known as Truth or Consequences, currently known as Hot Springs. Desolation Peak is about 50 miles to the west, remote, as I have said, and we see these horsemen riding out in the direction of the sunset with the town in front of them. Whoever would like to go first, please tell us, who is your character and what do they maybe look like?
Name's Jeremiah Gibson. Yeah, it's quite the adventure for me. I did start my career a little bit in the war. I fought with the Union, but later on I wanted to settle down a bit. I was well educated, and so I pursued the pedagogical career of being a teacher, and it was wonderful, I have to say. I worked in a small town called Holton. It's south of Utah. It's in Utah. It's a little town, and it was wonderful. Beautiful people. My favorite sound, I have to say, was every fall that beautiful bell that hung over my one-room school. I'd hear it, and I knew the students were coming eager to learn. and I'd be there to help them do right by their family. I even had a few go on to university. Believe me, I was proud of that. That was all until the Hole in the Wall gang came along, and well, they destroyed everything in Holton. They burned down that school, and I didn't know what to do. That's why I called my brother Cormac here, and Cormac's riding just to my right. Yeah, I knew I had to do something. I knew Cormac could help me figure this out.
And a thick glob of spit lands at the feet of our horses from Cormac as he sits back up and waits. I come out from California. My little brother, so much better than Daddy or myself ever tried to do, working with his brain and all that, became a teacher out in Utah. And, well, when I heard what happened to him, decided to come out and show him that vengeance wasn't the way. See, a few years back yonder, where I'm from, Bodega Bay, I'm a sheriff of. My deputy was struck down by a little band of thieves following a man named Black Jack Ketchum. And when he told me what had happened, I knew that he needed a little bit of guidance, not to follow the path that I did, not to try to get vengeance, not to try to change from the path that he was on. So we hammered in those posts and rebuilt his homestead, but I saw that fire burning. I tried as I might to let him focus on what was good in this world, but, well, when this posse was rounding up people to take down the man who killed my deputy and who most likely ruined his chance at being a lawful man, I knew that we had to ride. And so I'm here to watch my little brother's back and to show him a little bit of the investigative ways of a sheriff from California. Together we're going to get through this, right, brother? I do a hard pat on Jeremiah's back.
Yeah, Cormac, with you by my side, I'm sure we'll be fine. Oh, we'll get our men.
You are two fine fellas, I must say. My name is Jethro James, it is. I was in the war too, and I saw some stuff that, well, let's just say it wasn't pleasant. I wasn't about that life no more. I wanted to get out. I didn't want to have a weapon in my hand and take the life of a fellow human being. So, I spent my life after that in the pursuit of literary excellence, most notably in the field of romance. I write books about the love between a man and his horse, a man and his woman, a man and his man. I'll write it. I will write it. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to write. Of course, I do use a different name. Ain't nobody gonna take seriously Jethro James writing about the romance between a man and his horse. Okay. Now, I said I wasn't about that life no more. But when a friend gave me the call, said he was having some problems with some bandits, could I come? Now, everyone knows I know my way around a six-shooter, okay? I know it. I didn't want to do it, but I would do it for a friend. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here helping somebody out. And if I can get a good story out of this, I think that's a win-win. That's why I'm here.
Well, might have fun to meet you, Jethro.
Good to meet you too, Jeremiah and Cormac.
Do we know you're a romance author, or that's just like your own personal? I don't know how long we're traveling, you know.
Like, do you share?
He would have told you, yeah. He would have let it
asked?
slip. You know, he would have given you he probably has a few copies in his saddlebag. So there's some new copy. This ain't released yet. It's going to the printers. Do we have printers back now? This going to the guy's going to copy many copies of it.
It's going to the printing press.
Going to the Gutenberg printing press.
I am loving how proud Jethro is of this. Just like, no, I got to get my books out there. Like, no sense in keeping it a secret.
I feel like there's a moment, you know, that night a few weeks back when you tell us this, you know, Jeremiah's like, oh, very nice, and walks off, and Cormac's like, do you mind signing a copy that I have? And he like walks to his bag. He's got like a dog-eared, you know, a horse named Asta, and he like brings it out, and he's like, I particularly like the part about the. Well, I didn't like the part when the horse got shot, but I promise you bring him back. And he like hands you this like dog-eared copy to like sign, and then quickly tucks it away for his younger brother to come back.
Jethro
Anyway, it seems weird.
He'll write a really, really long message in it. He'll close it and be like, Cormac, the horse ain't come back. He ain't come back. I understand that it caused you some hardship, and that's why I wrote it that way. I want people to feel. Cormac.
It made me feel.
Peace be with your spirit.
All right. I gotta go to bed.
Jeremiah doesn't even know his brother can read.
Yeah. I like the words, the pictures.
Just the complete image of his brother as the tough guy.
Like this tough hero.
Absolutely.
Stoic.
Absolutely.
Books are for me, not him.
We're reflecting on our journey as we are riding along. We're seeing these kind of scenes playing out over the course of this journey. As we get close to Desolation Peak, you can tell the sun is setting. We're seeing these three cowboys, as it were, all silhouetted by the setting sun. And you know you still have a few hours of daylight left as you are arriving. But we've already been set up with rooms. There are 4 different buildings of some importance within Desolation Peak. Other than that, it's just a small smattering of homes and shelters. But there's the Desolation Peak Hotel. It's apparently run by a man named Newton Earp, and we've already been set up with rooms by the Pinkertons there. We were also told that if we felt the need to, we should stop in to the Twin Springs mining office. There's a man named Jonah Byrne, who essentially represents the mining interests of the company here and helps to organize the miners, not in a union capacity, of course, just in the capacity of getting them organized and sent up into the hills, which, as far as you know, they have not been up there in quite some time. Ever since Black Jack moved in, the miners have just been staying in Desolation Peak. The other buildings are the Holy Moses Saloon, which already is starting to look like a great place to stop for a drink after such a long and arduous journey. And we are also aware that the sheriff's office, there is a sheriff, and I would say that for, at the very least, you, Cormac, you have gotten the name of the sheriff here is currently Bushrod Johnson. You think that you heard he is not a sheriff in the official capacity, but has stepped in to volunteer in the role after the death of the last sheriff 3 weeks ago.
Well, I don't know about you folks, but I'm still raring to go. I think we've been traveling long enough. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of a fire lit under these people's asses. I mean, mining office sounds like a good start, but I also do want to talk to that sheriff and see what the hell's going on. Nothing walks through this town without sheriff knowing. So, what do y'all think?
I think you're right on the money there, Cormac. I imagine there's a little bit of you don't want to feel. If I was the lawman here and a whole bunch of others came in, I feel like you don't want to step on my shoes or nothing like that, right?
Shit, Jeremiah, that's a good point. See?
Should we go to the sheriff first then?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to the sheriff. And I heard it's this Bushrod Johnson. I don't know him, but he's only been a sheriff for about 3 weeks yonder, so I don't think he's going to be too unhappy with us coming in trying to help. But yeah, I think we head there first.
That's a fantastic first name. He'll write them Bushrod in a little notepad.
Absolutely. Bushrod Johnson seems to be
very sexy name for a future
absolutely. And a very sexy sheriff, because if he is the one person who is in the sheriff's office when you walk in, you can see there's about 3 cells. There should be 5, but 2 of these cells are missing doors, so there's 3 working cells right now. And there is a man kind of sitting back in a chair, leaning backward against a table, who is wearing a bowler hat. I thought unusual choice for a sheriff, but I'm going with it. I like it. He's got the upturned mustache and would look more like a gentleman, if not for the fact that he is built like a brick shit house. He is a big guy, Bushrod Johnson, huge and muscular. And he says, "Well, how can I help you?" And he kind of sits forward, seeing these armed individuals walking into his office. At first, you can tell he's very nervous. Seeing you don't have the guns out, he is kind of more at ease for certain, and even cracks a slight smile. Apparently, he has maybe gotten some information, it seems, based on that smile, to expect some reinforcements, perhaps. So already things, without him saying anything other than that, seem like they're off to a good start. He's smiling at us.
Yeah, and I think Cormac keeps his sheriff's pin pinned underneath. Kind of like a lawman is an easy target for a bandit if they're walking down the street, so he keeps it hidden at all times. And he doesn't flash it just yet. And Cormac's a pretty short guy. He's more wiry than you'd expect. Sort of like a Jimmy Stewart type looking guy, you know, who is tall, but that sort of kind of a long face.
I'm going to say, to Bushrod's credit, you mentioned it was kind of like tuck there, your gun.
Yeah.
It takes him a second, but his gaze settles on exactly where your gun is. Like he's pretty good at finding out where someone might be concealing their guns on their person, potentially.
Cool. Yeah, and Cormac walks in, you know, feeling pretty confident. He kind of walks over to a shelf and like picks something up and like puts it back down. He's just like, "You wanted help? We're here to help."
That's good news. That's very good news for me. Frankly, I am ecstatic because I do believe it is only a matter of time before we are going to pinpoint his exact location. Black Jack has been in the neighborhood a little too long and worn out his welcome. I think I've eliminated south of town and in the gorge to the west, but it's only a matter of time. We'll find his base eventually, and the more help I have when we do, the better. So he already seems like he is down to ally up with you, but he's still looking for Black Jack's base at the moment.
Jeremiah, just a curious mind in general. I'm going to walk into these cells that are missing doors, and I'm going to just peek at the craftsmanship and maybe try to understand what happened here. Would you look at that? I've never been in a cell before. This is something, I don't know, very unwelcoming. I can say that. I wouldn't want to spend more than a few moments in here. And I'm looking at the hinges and see if there's any disruption and why the hinges are off. I could ask, but it's just curiosity makes me kind of just meander over.
Absolutely. Wow. You can. I'm going to let you actually do a check on this, either spot hidden, or if you have another skill like mechanical repair or something that you think would apply here, go ahead and roll a D100 and let me know whether you succeed on the relative skill you're going to use.
Long shot here. Could I use physics?
Yes, I would absolutely allow that. Yeah.
All right, so I got underneath my 60, so I have a success with a 53.
53, absolutely out of 60. You can definitely just barely tell. There haven't been doors installed here. They built the sheriff's office, as it were, with the idea that there's going to be 5 cells. But your guess is, without having to ask him, they probably haven't gotten the iron for the doors or the doors built wherever they're going to be built yet. And this is a sign of the unfortunate lack of prosperity in the town. There was expectations that have not yet been met in the town.
Is it assumed that the Twin Springs mining company in the office is a gold mine, or is it an iron mine?
It's interesting that you say that. I would like you to real quick roll, and everybody can do this actually. I meant to say, go ahead and roll a knowledge check that could be, I want to highlight credit rating would represent your access to information, but otherwise if you have a relevant knowledge skill like history or local knowledge, that kind of thing, I would ask you to roll that to see if you know what is getting mined by the Twin Springs.
Nope, 79.
79.
Oh,
No.
I got a 19.
Ooh,
Nice.
absolutely.
Which is not the medium success, not the great success, the medium one.
Absolutely. Oh, so a hard success. It's the second one after a normal success.
Yeah.
But not an extreme success. That's
hard
good
success.
to know. Absolutely. And let me just ask just so I know, what skill were you using for that?
History.
History, that's perfect. Absolutely. What's interesting is, you know that there have been mines getting established all over the Wild West, and it's a big gold rush opportunity. And the rumors surrounding the mine have been mainly about gold, but they've also been extremely vague. And you know, with that hard success, it's actually not gold at all. Someone, probably the Twin Springs Mining Company, has been allowing that rumor to be the dominant rumor. But in fact, there is a kind of metal getting mined near Desolation Peak by the Twin Springs Mining Company that people don't seem to be able to identify what exact kind of iron it is. There have been rumors going around that it's valuable, that it has certain magnetic properties, but other than that, it hasn't actually been identified. Yet they are selling this metal and making a good profit doing so. That is the word that you have been kind of picking up as you have been kind of not before you were traveling, obviously, when you were in towns in the area, in the state.
You'll tell everyone that, and then write, "This is gonna be a bestseller."
Joel, you haven't finished these cells, I imagine. The mine hasn't been working as well as you would hope.
It's funny you say that, because first they say it's gold, then they say, I don't know, there's rumors that there's some iron in there maybe. When I heard iron, I was hoping that there was maybe going to be not the need to order doors from hot springs, but I can't seem, even before Black Jack moved in, Twin Springs was decidedly evasive about giving out any information. Now, to be fair, that's not that unusual. These companies are very worried about competition, but it seemed like they wouldn't even be clear with me on whether the iron they found could be used, and they wouldn't seem to make a deal. That I couldn't figure out. It should be in their best interests. I just want doors, and
I reckon it's a good sign that our cells are empty anyways, maybe.
Look, it doesn't matter. Doors, mines, Black Jack Ketchum is why here and my brother are here. Mm-hmm. We want to know. And he kind of leans over the desk and puts his fingers pointedly on it, sort of at a, maybe a map there. And he's kind of like, now you mentioned that there were a few areas that you ruled out. What are the areas you ruled in?
Well, he could still be near the mines. Certainly seems like he's attacked the mines more than once. And the mines are east of town, a little bit to the northeast. You would have maybe seen them in the distance on your right-hand side coming into town. And sure enough, as we rode west, we kind of did see a low mountain, sort of a big mound to the north of us. And so he's saying to the northeast, that's where the mines would be. They might be camped around there. I'm thinking not to the east, and we've ruled out the west and south. Possibly somewhere to the north. That's really where we haven't thoroughly searched. Close enough to the mines. So near or far to the mines, but certainly north, I think, is where we need to search next.
All right. Now,
okay.
I heard that you're sheriff here for 3 weeks-ish, give or take.
So, at least a sheriff in standing at the moment until someone else takes the job, and I haven't heard anyone speak up yet.
What happened to the sheriff previous, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, Black Jack came riding into town, and that was the end of him.
So he does come into town often, then?
He comes into town occasionally, and no one knows when it's going to happen. It seems like...
Does it always end with the death of the sheriff? Or just if they cross him?
Only if they cross him, typically. Although that's more often than not, sometimes at the encouragement of the people, and no one lasts long facing Black Jack. I think there's just two young gentlemen at the saloon I know of who have lived to tell the tale after facing down Black Jack, and I can't think of anyone else in town, at least, besides people in his own gang.
I'd like to size up the sheriff a little bit here, and does a credit rating maybe, and I want to see if this is someone I think could do a good job as a sheriff, or does he seem like a little Weasley, maybe easily pushed around?
Go ahead and roll a credit rating check.
Puppet or something, and that's what my thinking is. Unfortunately, I got a 61, not good enough.
61. I would say, what was this? It was like a 50, the skill you were going for?
40, yeah.
40. It's hard to tell. It seems like he's strong and intimidating, but you're not sure if you can pick up bully vibes on him or not.
Cormac leaps at the last comment he made, and he says, what are the names of the two men that have encountered Black Jack Ketchum and got away?
Oh, let's see. That would be John and Bob. John Connolly and Bob Newman. Not the best in the bunch, but you'll catch him playing some dice and cards outside of the Holy Moses Saloon.
Is there anything that's been happening around town besides this major problem that you think a few extra hands could help with?
Let's see. He's thinking, but nothing's occurring to him. But go ahead, and if you'd like to make a persuasion, charm check, even credit rating, being a fellow sheriff. In fact, if you had good credit rating, I might even give you. In fact, sheriff to sheriff, I'm going to give you a bonus die on this. So roll 2 times and take the lower number.
Yeah.
He's really racking his brain for anything unusual.
Ooh, that's a 2.
Ooh,
a
2.
So I lean forward and I just say, look, I get it, but we're here to help. And we can't help if you don't tell us everything that you think is worth mentioning. All right?
He thinks things through. He says, well, Black Jack moved into the area maybe, the mines opened up 6 months ago. Black Jack moved in maybe 3 months ago. And what's unusual is his base, the Hole in the Wall gang, is known for a well-known base much further north in Wyoming territory. And, rumor has it he split off from the rest of the Hole in the Wall gang, took about 20 soldiers with him, and came riding south rather abruptly, cut ties with his own brother, Sam Ketchum, and the rest of the Hole in the Wall gang. And he starts naming the notorious, like Billy the Kid and all the other members of the Hole in the Wall gang. A good group for him to be sticking around with, always showed loyalty. One day he split off. Rumor had it, it was after he had a bit of a difficult event. Got lost, got shot apparently, went wandering in the desert for a while, had to survive on his own, on his lonesome, without any of his men. They had all been ambushed. And when he came back, he was a different man after that. He had apparently gotten trapped in a cave. When he came back, he had a more than just a chip in his shoulder. He no longer cared for the rest of the gang, took his troops and rode all the way down to here. Now, earlier in his career, he did do some train robbing in New Mexico territory, but he came back quite right quick, came straight to Desolation Peak. Now, to me, that does not add up. Why he would end a career train robbing and really making good money to come attack a mine, to come attack Desolation Peak. We've got a bank. He hasn't attacked the bank yet. Everyone's expecting him to. It's the best target by far, but he hasn't struck the bank. We don't know why.
When he comes through town, he killed the sheriff, obviously, because the sheriff was getting in the way. What is he after in town? Is he just riding on through?
He seems to ride on through, and it's never quite clear what he's going to do. Sometimes, more than once, he rides to the mine office, and then he'll go in and leave. And sometimes he does it right peaceful like, but other times he'll go to a miner's home, shoot up the whole home, then leave. Sometimes he'll gun down a man, take his possessions, and then just ride out of town. There's a man.
These acts, you think, just to establish dominance, or do you think there's something to it, like maybe key people in the mine that he's attacking?
When you mention that with the two that we got on this, I'm going to say this has not occurred to him. As you bring this up, he starts to say, well, I would have said establishing dominance, terrorizing us. These bandits like to claim a town as their own and make sure everyone knows it. But it's always miners or the mining office.
Does the mining office pay any of its miners in the metal that it procures?
Well, between you and me, no. But the metal... the mining is valuable, and it wouldn't be the first time a miner has pocketed a little bit of the product for themselves.
And Cormac raises an eyebrow.
Miners do it all the time.
Just kind of like, all right, well, do us a favor here, Bushrod. Keep what you just told us between us, especially if anybody nefarious comes and asking. We're going to poke around a little bit. And for that matter, maybe don't let anybody know that we're investigating these specific leads.
Well,
Tips his hat.
While we're about to leave the room, I want to pull out my compass and take a look at it. Now, we said that the mine was east of us.
Mm-hmm.
Does my compass point north, or does it point to the mine?
I would like you to make a navigation or natural sciences check.
Can I use physics still?
Yes, you can absolutely use.
This is a success, 38 out of 60.
Absolutely, with a regular success. You're noticing that your compass is pointing north, but as you pay attention to it and move around, two things happen. It flickers in the direction of the mine every now and then, as though there is something occasionally pulling it in that direction, and it also slightly flickers toward the mining office. you realize.
I bring this to Cormac's and Jethro's attention, showing them the compass. Now, I don't know about you, but this thing is a pretty trusty instrument I carry with me. Points true north, magnetic north, as often as I use it. This is quite curious, I think. I'll show it to the others.
And who is in charge of the mining office? Is it one person? Is it numerous people?
Just one guy, Jonah Byrne. Jonah Byrne is the guy who operates.
This Jonah Byrne, he gets off scot-free with, what's his name, sorry? I keep thinking of Hammer Chain, which is not his name.
Bushrod Johnson. Bushrod Johnson, when you ask him about Jonah Byrne, just says, nah, runs the mining office. I don't have a nice thing to say about a man like that. He won't raise arms against Ketchum if Ketchum, had him by the britches. A man like that's got no spine, and that he dismisses him with that.
Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, and if you could, like I said, keep everything between us.
Certainly. Mm-hmm. He just winks and kind of tips the hat. And when you know more about Ketchum and his location, you just come find me.
Can I roll insight on that comment?
Absolutely. Go for it. This would be psychology, or if you have a different skill you would like to use.
Yeah, no. Fuck that with an 89.
Absolutely.
Anyone else wants to?
We've got luck, just a reminder, but I don't think luck's going to help there. That would be a lot.
I don't think I can.
I give Jeremiah a look kind of like, you sussing that guy?
And I kind of can't figure this sheriff out, as we're walking out the door.
Yeah.
Seems to me that it's not a position anybody would want. Why has he come into this position? And he seems
pretty long-lived in the sheriff's position too.
Yeah, I feel like we tuck around the side of the building, like out at earshot of anybody, and make sure no one's watching. It's kind of like, I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's behind anything nefarious personally, but I do get the vibe that he wants to wash his hands of this as soon as he can. I can't blame him, losing a sheriff 3 weeks ago.
Now, I reckon if this stone has some magnetic quality, as the compass indicates, there should not be a supply if they're in low supply right now in the mining office. Now, I reckon if that was something that would, they're regularly transporting goods, but why is there any there right now? That's the question I want.
Yeah, and I think Cormac is a more grounded personality. Like, he's not one of these superstitious folk. However, Harlan is already getting his brain going. But I think in sort of his mind, even though I don't think it's this, he kind of goes, I've seen a lot of strange things come over people of all different types. I'm thinking maybe while wandering the desert, Ketchum must have stumbled upon some information that must have meant there was some valuable gold like in the mines. And I think rather than try to go through proper authorities or take it out himself, I think he's trying to get as much of his hands on it as he can, taking it from people who are stealing it from the mines or taking it from the mining office directly.
That's my thinking, and it's possible that the mining office is the next target for Cormac if he's an innocent man. Jonah, that is.
However, and he sort of turns to Jeremiah on this, and this is an important thing. A lot of people change their attitude when a gun gets pointed in their face or some dollars get waved under their nose. Now, we can play this one of two ways, boys. We can walk in that mining office straight as the day and say, here's what we suspect, here's what we figure out, or there's always taking another approach, being a little bit more heavy-handed, maybe being nefarious ourselves. If this is the material that our Ketchum is so interested in, it's very possible that he's made some sort of bargain with this fella to leave his life intact. So, we could be heavy-handed, we could be coy.
I think if we go in heavy-handed, we got to go with the heaviest hand there's ever been, because the sheriff said this guy was spineless. And if we go in heavy-handed, we got to scare him more than he's already scared. That might be difficult to do.
Yeah.
You think it'd be easy?
No, I don't think it'd be easy.
Cormac, you taught me a fair bit about this here tool, and he looks at the firearm with I look at the firearm with a little bit of disdain. I mean, I'm for going a little coy. I think that's probably the more reasonable choice, being what we saw in recent past with the loss of our friends on the way here. I'm keen for rational thinking. Perhaps we can suss this gentleman out, and maybe he'll find reason if he is, working beneath the law a little bit here.
Jethro looked to his gun, but he won't touch it. I'm on the same card as Jeremiah. There, I don't think we need to go shooting anybody up.
No, me too. What I mean to say, and maybe I didn't detail the particulars that well, was that we could go under the guise of Ketchum's boys and be a little bit more heavy-handed as if we were going to take the loot. Or we can be upfront about whose our intentions are for. But I think you're right, Jeremiah. I think at this point, if this fella is as spineless as the sheriff made him out to be, though I don't think he used the exact word spineless, I think it does make sense that we go in and just start asking questions. Keep an eye on the back door just in case. So yeah, I think we head over to Jonah Byrne in the mining office. I think he said that he didn't like Jonah Bird, like he's kind of an asshole.
He said he has no spine, I think.
Did he? Okay.
Seemed to judge him like a coward, someone who wouldn't stand up to catch him, is what he said.
Okay,
someone who would never join the posse that he's trying to get together.
And he also said he didn't want to speak too much about a character like that.
Yeah.
And perhaps it's what isn't being said that speaks loudly.
Yeah, and I think as we're going in, Cormac sort of like hangs back a second, just whispers in Jeremiah's ear and says, if things do go south, I'll be playing bad cop in there. And you'll see how that goes. Just follow my lead. And
I don't know how to play bad cop. I'm a teacher.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
You don't get too
Only
sucked
if things
in.
go sour. And yeah, I think we walk into the mining office.
Absolutely. When you get to the mining office, you can see there's a little bit of a sign for the Twin Springs Mining Company above it. And the moment you enter, you can see behind a small desk a man kind of balding, very small, who immediately looks up at you in fear from behind his glasses, and then his eyes brighten. He says, oh, thank God, it's you, isn't it? The Pinkerton sent you. When you didn't arrive, I was so worried. That don't matter, though. You're here now. I can't complain. I'm glad they sent anyone who's willing, frankly. Black Jack's no joke. Killed more people than I got fingers and toes now at this point. So anything I can help you out with, and already he is gushing. He seems scared already before the conversation has begun.
Perfect.
Can we do like a spot hidden for people in here? Like, is there anywhere like people could be like hiding in the back?
There does seem to be a back to the office. Go ahead and make a spot hidden check. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of room back there, but...
Ooh, that's not going to pass. 74.
74. It doesn't seem like there's anyone else in the front or back of the office.
Having never been in a mine office, Jeremiah excited yet again for new experiences, but he's looking at his compass the whole time and just kind of walking around the room.
Smart.
Absolutely. You're noticing that there are like a few shelves in the mining office, and against one wall, they did kind of dedicate it to things that they took out of the mine, a few rock samples, some chunks of unusual looking stone, nothing that looks like any kind of ore or anything valuable, more like oddities maybe. There are one or two would appear to be like Native American relics of some kind. One is a small, not dream catcher, but kind of like a similar frame, and then like a piece of like cloth hanging below it, some piece of hanging artwork basically, and then one is a small clay Native American disc. And then you notice that your compass keeps flickering to just below that disc, where underneath the shelf, shoved to the back, there's a box, a black box that someone has kind of shoved, and then shoved a box in front of it. And you're positive as you kind of move around, your compass is pointing at the box behind.
I make no obvious recognition that that's happening, but I do kind of walk over to Cormac or make eye contact, kind of just, gesturing.
And I see the compass spinning.
And I hide the compass so that it's only really us who are noticing that.
Yeah. And I pick up what you're putting down.
Exactly.
And I walk over to the counter a little bit, and I'm like, look, we're going to ask you questions. We don't want to fuck around. You can tell us the easy answer, or we can do this the hard way, and that's never fun for anybody. So let me just ask you, when Ketchum comes in here, what does he ask for?
When he comes in here, you must surely be mistaken. Go ahead and roll with advantage. So you're rolling 2 times, either an intimidate or credit rating check.
Yeah, I'll do intimidate. Well,
this could actually, the way you said it could totally be charm or persuasion, honestly, because you were like, we can do this the easy way. Use whichever skill is best for you.
All right, I'll start off with charm.
Yeah. I'm going to actually say I'm giving like 3 rolls on this because of everybody in the room backing you up right now and the fact that he was already scared. So roll 3 times, take the lowest one.
Amazing. So that would be a 17. So that is a hard success.
Hard success, absolutely. And a hard success is enough that he breaks down and he says, "It's the sheriff. They told you, didn't he?" Okay, all right. Black Jack sometimes comes in here. It's true. He's never taken the money. I don't understand. He's never taken any of the money. And he kind of like indicates the back room, like there is some kind of like strong box or lock box of some kind. He never wants anything, just like the scraps, the bits of stone that the miners bring back. Sometimes, yes, some of the metal, and then we just don't report the missing metal when he does take some of our supply. We just kind of, I end up making the numbers work at the end of the day. And it seems like that's all he ever wants. I don't know why. You need to believe me. I've tried to figure it out myself. I didn't tell the sheriff, but I did tell some people in the mining office, and they couldn't make heads or tails of it. So just people I trusted, really, not anyone important in the mining office. You think he like confided in friends and they didn't know what to do about it. And he says, I swear I don't know why. He never says what he wants it for.
I notice you got some agate over there. I see some snowflake, obsidian, some very interesting pieces here. Do you have any examples of the type of stuff that he comes in for? I mean, is he a collector? Is that what you think?
He says if he's a collector, he wants a lot of it. He keeps asking for more and more. And I tell him it's all the same. It's like it's never enough. And with that hard success, his eyes flicker to Cormac. I've got a small sample here. I can show it to you. He reaches for that box that you were having your compass flicker to. And I'm just going to also let you know, as he pulls that box away, your compass kind of keeps flickering and following the box. And then it also, in a very much smaller way, keeps flickering to that clay stone Native American carved disc as well. And it seems to keep flickering back to there, but still focuses on the black box. As
this is going, can I try to do a sleight of hand, maybe pocket the clay?
100%. He's focusing on opening the box and all of that.
Sleight of hand?
As soon as he turns his back, you can.
If you want, mine's 30. So if you want, you can nudge me and I can go for it.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. You know what? I'll actually present myself as knowing how Cormac works. We played this type of game when we were kids a little bit. The
shell game.
Yeah, I stand in kind of line of sight, right? So I stand, I was like, this is interesting. Really nice craftsmanship on this box here. What's inside? I'm curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Cormac like picking up. He like takes a second, right, and like looks around, like, what do you want me to pilfer? And he sees this like thing, and he's like, all right, like kind of he like piecing it together. Maybe there's like a moment where he like points at one thing. Jeremiah.
Absolutely, it's like hand going up and
Like the
down
really nice
behind
looking
Jonah.
rock, like those polished stone.
Yeah,
No.
and I'll do a sleight of hand.
Absolutely, you will have advantage on that from the help that Jeremiah is providing.
Still.
Oh yeah, that's so 33. I'm going to spend 3 luck points.
Absolutely, and that will make it a regular success.
Correct.
Love that. Absolutely, that is just enough to pocket the stone disc.
Turn me up.
Him up?
Turn me up if you can.
Oh, you sure? Yeah, I can turn you up.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Keep playing.
Absolutely, and the disc is pocketed for certain.
Amazing.
And you know that Jonah is definitely spilling the information. He was giving us the box. He was opening up the box. And inside the box, there is sure enough on a small black cloth, a piece of what appears to be a kind of iron at first. As you look at it more, you do start to notice automatically with just your physics like score, it's slightly more bluish and greenish. There's just a slight sheen to this metal that is not iron-like.
Is that an oxidization there going on? What's happening here? That iron looks peculiar. You have much of this? Is this what he's after?
We're thinking it's some kind of alloy because it don't seem like it's rusting, and it don't seem to rust at all. And you can also make a physics check on this stone, I'm going to say, to see if you can notice some stuff about it.
Yeah, another success. 43 out of 60. 43 out of 60.
This strange metal what's most interesting to you about it is not even the fact that it seems like you can't identify if it is iron at all, or if it is, what is making it different. What's really bothering you about it is the fact that it seems to have been fashioned in a way, and yet you can also tell they dug it out in this shape. It has not been forged by anyone, at least not this millennia. But you cannot shake the feeling that once upon a time, but that doesn't make any sense, because it would be an impossibly long time ago that this had been once upon a time shaped. The metal is kind of a very long triangle. Like if you were to take a four-sided die and just extend one end of it really, really far. So it's almost like a stabbing blade, kind of, but it makes you think more of a fragment, a shard of something that's split off of something larger.
Like a Toblerone.
Like a Toblerone that tapers at the end, yeah.
Could I try an art/craft roll, because my specialty is literature, to find out if it's been written about? Is that a relative role? Is it like a...
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll that. That I would allow, yes.
Are you joking me? It's an 80 and I rolled a 98.
Oh.
No.
You rolled a 98. Oh,
I rolled
bummer.
a 98. Oh
you definitely know you have never heard about this metal being written about. You think you have some like leads on things that would make sense, but it's all just like your excuses that you're coming up with.
Yeah.
When did this mine start? I mean, who was here before the mine? I imagine there was people living on this land long before the mine was established.
Oh yes. The mine only was established about 6 months ago. Desolation Peak, we really only started setting up here maybe a few years back. We started setting up the first houses and stuff before settlers done moved in. It was the Native Americans.
And a lot of pushback, a lot of people...
Not a lot of pushback, and you know the translation is that they moved in with a lot of aggression, the settlers here, and you're understanding that the Native Americans were cleared out in a pretty simple way. Not too violent, but it was over and done with very quickly. He's explaining they did seem to camp near where the mine is today.
If we were to touch the piece, do we like, if I was just reach out and just like touch it, is there anything that like, is it just feel like metal? Does it spark anything in me as a person to touch it?
Absolutely. As you touch it, you can't put your finger on it exactly what suddenly feels different, because you have never experienced the sensation of touching a slightly charged electric like outlet. But if you had to, you know what, I'll let you make an intelligence check to see if you can detect that there's almost like what this means, this buzzing.
Energy to it.
Energy to it.
Oh, nice. It's a hard success.
That's enough.
25.
A hard success, absolutely. You know enough about how electricity works that you know this is almost like there is a current being produced by this. And as you touch it, Jonas says, they say it's like self-magnetic. It affects other metal, but not really, but itself. They don't really know what it means, but it's drawn to other pieces of itself.
Picking up what you're putting down. And he leans forward and just sort of, to clarify, says, the people that Ketchum robbed, did you tell Ketchum that you gave them their pieces of this, or?
No, I swear. It takes him a moment to understand what you're asking, and he says, no. You think I told them? No, it's like he knows. It's like he always knows who.
How many pieces do you think you've given him? And the amount of time that he's been coming and going, 1, 2, 20?
I gave him some big pieces. He always seemed to come by when we had big pieces. Whenever we made a big score, a bigger one than we were expecting. Something bothers him when he says that phrase, bigger than they were expecting. He shivers a little bit when he says that. That's when Ketchum would come. And he'd take take it off our hands. And then he kind of shivers.
I think Cormac turns to Jeremiah and says, "Look, I love you, little brother, but I'm going to have to hold on to this. If he comes, I don't want him going through you." And I think he takes the piece. It's still ingrained in the rock, right? You're holding the box.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the right to take it yet. I don't know.
We're going to take whatever the fuck we want.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't seem to be resisting, as you kind of discussed.
I tell him, I'm like, we're taking this.
Listen, Cormac, if it is attracting my compass through magnetism, we can find out what's layer too. If we take it, how is he going to get it?
Well, we know where he is roughly, which means then we can pinpoint based on the magnetism. But if he comes to town and he's looking for this, I have a little crazy theory that he's going to need this piece. So I want to make sure that we keep it safe. And I think it's still in the rock, right? It's not like just the one thin piece.
You can tell with that check that we had made that it had been taken out of rock, like it was fashioned and then embedded in rock, and then it got dug back out. But they did strip off all of the excess stone, so it's just the metal now.
Oh, perfect. Then I want to tuck it into my boot, like so it runs the length of my boot.
It would do so. It's almost like a splinter of metal, so it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Shocking you the entire time.
What's that?
Electrocuting you slightly the entire time.
Slight buzz.
It's like licking a battery for hours.
Your hair raises all along your leg.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so like meta, and it's so funny because I forget that we can have meta conversations. Meta, this sounds to me like a piece of a machine that he needs to build.
I think it's like a part of a battery. I think he's trying to get enough to charge some sort of,
I don't know. So here's my. I mean, this is just my like Call of Cthulhu brain.
Oh, you're right. Like gears and shit.
He saw like a depiction on a mural of like an object and where they dismantled and buried it. And I'm guessing whatever it was is like this powerful artifact. And he's now trying to get the pieces back together to replicate it. Now, none of us know that, so we're gonna go back to knowing nothing. But it's tough because you got to walk that line between like what your characters know.
No, but here's my thinking.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you started. Go for it, Jethro. Or
did the sheriff say he was like he was shot, then he was like buried in a cave, then he got out and came back.
He walked through the desert, like shot, and like basically died, and they think he fell into a cave and then came out. I don't know if he said he was like risen again, but if he was, that could also be part of it too.
Yeah, I think he either like you said, found the mural of a thing that needs to be rebuilt in that cave. I think that cave had something to do with him wanting this metal. And maybe he used it to
100%.
Oh, I mean, he knows it's there somehow. He's possessed. It's not like just he's acting out of his own accord now. He's been taken over, or he has some sort of.
Well, that's why like a machine to me, I'm thinking like a portal, like a gateway to summon something. And
demon.
Because the main thread of this that I'm thinking,
the best part of Cthulhu is we just speculate way out of control.
Well, it seems like someone disassembled and then buried it.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Can't be
the indigenous culture who is here.
Well, that
probably knows what was going on.
Because if it was a battery, you wouldn't like the intentional burying of a created machine seems more along the lines of an ancient technology that needs to be disassembled. And to me, it rings of that. Oh, he's putting it back together. Anyway. Cuts down.
So that's why. Okay, but hold on a second. That's why you're taking this one piece so that he can't finish it, therefore eliminating that ultimate threat.
Exactly.
But there was the part that if he got the piece, we could track him back.
Which I totally agree with. But I think if he gets this piece, it's going to be like, and the final piece,
and you are all vaporized by.
But if we
Cthulhu
can track
himself.
one piece, we can track the big pieces he already has.
Agreed. But if A, he has a way to determine where they are, and B, the compass shows where they are.
I don't know if they have, except for we know the mine has more, and we had this place.
Potentially. I don't know. To me, I think if we can't, we can always come back and drop it off and let him pick it up. But to me, the risk is too high, because if it is the final piece, and we're like, we can track it, and we get there as he puts it in, and we're going to be like, damn it, like, if only we were...
We did it! It's so beautiful!
Anyway, that's my from in-person... But
Ark of the Covenant.
Cormac's like, I just got a feeling like he's going to be coming forward. Thank you. Now, put your hand on the counter here, friend. And he like kind of grabs your hand and he pulls out his rifle, his like gun, and he turns it around so that the butt is like ready to just smash this guy's butt.
I'm done sorry for what I done. I know I shouldn't have told Ketchum about that.
And he like tosses it in the air and like grabs it again, and he smacks the counter next to his hand like so hard. And then he looks at him in the eye and he says, "If Ketchum does come back, you don't tell him a goddamn thing. And you do not tell him that we spoke to you. Do you understand?" And he like lifts the gun up.
I understand. I understand. He never asked me no questions, so I think I can oblige that without too much trouble.
Then we're good. And he lifts it up and puts his gun away.
You see him just visibly sigh at the very least. You don't know what else he does, but he sinks into his chair, sighing.
What's that smell?
I wish you all the best of luck, certainly.
You too. And I think like as we're outside, like Cormac like breaks it and he's just like, "You always want to make sure that an informant is not going to tell the person after, because then it puts,
taking notes because I'm learning from Big Brother.
He's like, yeah, and he's like, and with a character like that, I would love to try to persuade and charm him, but frankly, I don't think it's going to work as much as a good old breaking of the hand threat.
Well, that's why I called you, Cormac.
Like, we're going to get this bastard.
On my way out, I grabbed the nice piece of snowflake obsidian off the desk and go, "Thank you."
Just that was like, the miners love that piece. All right, I suppose they'll appreciate having their work back more. And get this. It's a really cool piece of obsidian. You can see why they like it.
Thank you.
And I think we head over to the saloon, because I do want to ask the two about. So we now know the cause. We know.
Let's look at the clay piece first.
What's that? Yeah, absolutely. While we're walking over, let's take a look.
Go ahead and you notice it has a lot of strange inscriptions on it. Go ahead and make a spot hidden check. Unless you have another kind of investigation.
Can I as well,
skill.
over his shoulder?
Certainly,
I got 22, and my 22 is my better than my half.
Hard.
Yeah, hard success.
So that's a hard success. You're going to notice two things. First of all, you're able to pick out that the Native American inscriptions on here seem to depict what appear to be you think the disc is supposed to represent the planet as far as you can tell. On the very edge of it, you can see people walking around the rim like it's all the people on the outside of the Earth. And as you're figuring this out and making this connection, you are noticing lines and circles on the disc you're starting to think are actually supposed to be caves, as far as you can tell. A network of caves, all interconnected. And then you are noticing at the very center, it seems like there's less artistic and more functional purpose to the carving. And then you notice that it's almost like somehow, elegantly, they managed to carve the stone in such a way that there is a tiny fragment of metal inside of the stone at the very heart of the disc. So there was a little bump at the center, almost like a button, but now you're making the connection. No, somehow there's metal inside being wrapped up almost completely by the stone, but you can see part of it has chipped away, and it's almost like the stone coating is gone. The metal inside is revealed. It is more of the same strange iron.
Do I get is it a warning is there any indication that, I guess there wouldn't be from the description there. I'm stretching my thoughts here. It's like one of two things I'm thinking, like, does it seem like they've wrapped this metal with this inscription, this imagery around it? Mm-hmm. So almost like either instructions or the story of what's been inside of it kind of thing.
I'm going to give you two pieces of information that will clarify that. You think that the metaphorical implication is that at the center of the earth, this metal is embedded. And that's the artistic viewpoint. And then also, you can't help but notice there's almost like an arrow on the end. And this amulet, you're starting to think of it now as, would have like a loop around one end. And on the other end, the disc has kind of an arrow, a motif that gets formed. And you're starting to think that this is reminding you of your own compass. And that in a way, this gives you, what's the name for the stick? Dowsing rod vibes to a certain degree. So and as soon as you make that connection, you feel your hand almost like drift naturally.
Like relax enough to test it out.
Leg.
Yeah, interesting.
Why are you pointing at me?
and I hand him the artifact. That's why.
Shit, and it like goes down. So he must have a copy of this.
And is it more of a pull than my compass was doing?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it like a
definitely more of a pull? Your compass just occasionally flickers in the direction of the metal. This new compass you've gotten is like pulling your hand in the direction of just this tiny source of metal, and then you realize while you're holding it, it's this itch in your mind almost to look in the direction of the mound.
Interesting.
Much bigger pull than the compass was ever given.
Was it? Oh, interesting. Okay. Because I was going to say, do we need to, like, is it clay on the outside? Did you say, like, almost like clay? So perhaps the clay could insulate and create that point of pull. So maybe if we ever needed to insulate the piece you had, we could.
We needed a giant pole.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool.
All right. Well, it changes the method, obviously. So it doesn't sound like he's building a machine. It does sound like it's just some material. For what purpose? Who knows?
Well, I mean, he might be able to find that he might have his own, and that's why he's able to pull towards it. It doesn't really change the mechanism that much.
No, everything but the end result, which was an entire guess on my.
You could still be online. I think you could still be there.
Yeah. All right. So I'm like looking at you. I'm like, damn, you were always a smart one. Well done, Jeremiah.
It's them books. It was all. Yeah, if you tried some, you'd enjoy them, Cormac.
You read those books too? And he looks to Jethro and he's like, "Did you like the horse?"
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Let's go.
Everybody
Walks
likes
over to
horses out here. We all like a good horse, okay?
Asta was my boy. Anyway, so I kick open
Atreyu.
the door to the Holy Moses.
Absolutely. The Holy Moses, of course, got the swinging saloon doors you can easily throw open. And just so you know, let's say everybody's inside. Just inside. You can
The two guys, right? You said
a pair of guys playing dice. They're going to be, it's getting dark. So they've gone inside where the candles are lit. And they are playing dice, it seems, making a lot of noise. These out-of-work miners we had identified. We're also noticing there's a female bartender who people are calling out her name, Ashley. Ashley seems like she is not intimidated by this crowd. She has this crowd well in hand. Somebody does, after a few minutes, call out like something rude in her direction. And you're like, I thought that would have happened like way sooner by now. And she throws a glass at the guy's face. Boom, it connects. He is thrown backward and everybody laughs. And you're realizing she does not need to worry about these guys. She has them well in hand. This bartender.
I like this girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who was Newton Earp? Was that?
That was the
hotel
owner.
owner.
Oh, different place.
Wyatt's brother. I think we walk in and settled. I like immediately. Cormac goes to Ashley. He's just like, "You got to lay this land pretty damn well."
I try to. I need to know the lay of this land. And people trying to pull things on me all the time. Shut up! She shouts across the room at one guy, and then she's, "I'll get your order in just a second, honey." And this guy's like, "Thank you." She's obviously busy, but still holding a conversation with you.
And I'm just like, Connolly and Newman, Bob and John, or John and Bob, respectively. Can you point us toward them?
Those two miscreants at the front right there. I don't know if they've done any wrong by you, but just go easy on the boys. They've fallen on rough times. They were there at the mine when Black Jack attacked, and so they saw the worst of it, as far as I can tell.
What are they drinking?
Their usual whiskeys and not paying their tabs.
I'll take 2, and I'll pay for those 2. I ain't gonna sort their tab out.
Sort their tab out, you say?
We ain't gonna sort the tab. We ain't made of money.
It would be nice to know that some of the drinks the boys will get tonight will be covered for. I appreciate it. She has drinks brought over to you almost immediately. You're very impressed.
Cool.
Excellent.
Have them at the ready.
Yeah, we'll follow Jethro's lead. He seems like he's got a hold on this.
Absolutely.
I'm out of my element here for sure.
Just walk over to the 2 guys, plop down the whiskeys, and just like, "Gentlemen, what are we doing here tonight?"
Absolutely. As you walk over, at first they look like they're ready to give you nasty looks, like, "Look who's interrupting." Then their eyes widen, seeing the drinks. Make a charm or persuasion check with advantage.
Sweet. Apparently, Jethro gets a bonus die on his charm rolls. I don't know what that means, but I'll roll with advantage because that's more than fair.
Bonus die?
61.
Yeah, there's a talent section. I wasn't.
Oh,
using
this might be a pulp thing.
Yeah.
Roll one more time. What the hell? Let's give you this ability.
Well, I got a hard success. With a
Hard success so
33.
far. That's great. Just let me know if you do any better than a hard success. But so far, you're definitely going to get that.
No.
Okay, absolutely. We'll take the hard success then for sure. And Bob and John said, well, you seem like an okay type. Why don't you have a seat? You can get in on our game if you want, if you're going to be serving us drinks. And they're giving you a little bit of a hard time, but you know it's in a playful way for certain.
It's actually funny. You see Cormac's eyes like light up at the table, and there's this wash that comes over Cormac that you've never seen so far. He's very stern, but like this, almost like, oh, don't want to be rude. Play one quick hand. He like sits down.
I put my hand on Cormac's shoulder. I said, "You remember what Papa used to say,
Just
right?"
play one.
Yeah, I know, but you remember what happened when you were young, right?
Shit. All right, fine. He
Jethro will
stands
look
back
up and be like, "You guys know how to play? I don't know how to play."
Cormac, I guess you gotta play, but
No, it's all right. Fuck it. And he's like,
No,
turns around.
he's going to play with us. And Bob and John are loving this. They're very
Oh yeah, I'll play with you. And he sits down, and like he gets real excited. And
all right,
Ask
Jeremiah.
you questions, Jethro. And he's like playing a terrible hand.
Give me your extra cash. Give me some. You got a little bit on you. Give me the extra. I'll hold on to it.
Yeah. Well, he like fights you a little bit, but like
You don't need all that.
Like
You
his
don't-
weakness.
yeah. I definitely
Like,
take
he's
the
like a
majority
bad
of
gambler.
his money, so I'll hold it safe for
Yeah,
him.
he like give you like the pouch or whatever. Go ahead,
They're
Jethro.
definitely getting caught up in the game. And so, Jethro, the questions you're asking, they're caught up in the gambling and they are kind of like not fully registering anything you might be saying to them. And they're willing to probably spill a little bit more information.
Cool.
So just meta, the questions we would want to be asking just about Ketchum and their
Everything about
affiliation.
Ketchum. Yep.
So yeah, Jeremy will Jethro will definitely do that. He'll be like playing a game. They're playing cards, is it?
We're playing dice originally, but
Okay.
they break out cards as soon as you came over. It seemed like they were excited to play a game that would accommodate more players, maybe.
Yes, we playing. Be like, man, that Ketchum, nasty dude, huh?
They look at each other, and at first they say nothing. And then Bob says, yeah, he's nasty. Don't say half of it. Man's
Jethro kinda lean
a
in,
monster.
like, listen, dudes, among friends right here, we ain't working with that guy. You ain't ever seen our faces before. We don't come around here that much. We just heard some rumors. Just making some friendly conversation while we play.
You speak truth. I mean, we haven't seen you riding with the gang. Didn't see you with the mines there. We heard there were going to be some people coming in to take care of the problem. You can see them already starting to get emotional as they are recounting that day at the mines. It shook us. Made a ordinary fight. This ain't the first time John and I have tussled with bandits, but outlaws. But this wasn't like that. Makes an ordinary fight look like a prayer meeting.
I see. Miss Ashley, can we get 2 more whiskeys over here, please? Thank you kindly.
While Jethro's doing
The
this,
bottle goes past your head. You come up and get him yourself.
while they're playing, I'm counting cards, and I'm not actually going to cheat so much as make sure no one is cheating.
Absolutely.
So I have a photographic memory as one of my talents.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Gains a
nice.
bonus die when making no rolls. So I'm going to just count cards.
You are watching carefully, counting the cards, making sure nobody's cheating. John
Yeah.
and Bob, you are getting the impression they are not cheating and may not be intelligent enough to pull that off.
Can I do a quick gambling roll? Because I have that stat. And I was really excited to
Absolutely.
try
Go
it.
for a gambling check. I want to see.
Nope, failed. 66 out of 30.
He starts asking me for more money. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
I'm gonna leave
Cormac.
A 96 or higher, I would have said you cannot stop gambling, but
Yeah,
you're doing
that's fair.
okay. You're able to cut yourself off. And they are getting caught up in this, luckily enough, that they continue talking about that fateful day when Black Jack attacked the mine, guns blazing like a monster, made the fight look an ordinary fight like a prayer meeting. And I've seen a man take a bullet. I've even seen a man take 2 bullets. I ain't seen nothing like what I saw that day. And he looks back down at his cards. He'll say more, but he's like just shivering.
So you say you've seen your fair share of men taking bullets. I know that feeling, my friend. I do. Did Blackjack take the bullets? Did you see them make contact? Did you see the blood?
And he looks at you like so defiant and angry, like irrationally angry. And then he takes a deep breath and just shuts his eyes and starts shaking his head. And he's visibly shivering. And when he does that, John interrupts. I saw it too. They've been making fun of Bob, telling him he's making up stories. It's not true. I seen it too. He took 4 bullets. I saw him take 4 bullets right in the shoulders and the chest. He didn't even slow down.
That ought to put a man down.
That ought to put a man down hard. His face didn't change. That's what I remember bothered me the most about it. He didn't flinch. He stopped for a moment and kept going, like a man hesitating, like he wasn't sure. But his face didn't change at all.
But did you see blood?
I didn't see blood. And he thinks, and with your hard success, he's like, I thought I saw something, but I didn't see blood.
What did you see?
It might have been blood, but it looked black. It looked black, and as it fell from his body, it stopped. And then it pulled back, like pond water splashing. And then he shivers, and he just like looks down back at his cards. It's obvious he's distraught, reminiscing on this.
Interesting.
Yes, indeed. Well,
Well, I'm afraid I'm out of this hand, boys. And he puts down his cards and sort of stands up and slides back.
I want you boys to know what you told us tonight. That's gonna stay with us. I'm gonna get you boys 2 more drinks. He will do that in a manner that Ashley will not throw something at him.
Absolutely. You go to get the drinks, you gotta wait for her to have a moment. If you're getting them more drinks, I'm just gonna have you roll 1 more charm check to see if in a drunken stupor you can get them to spill out anything more.
Yeah.
Bar.
Oh, okay. No, that's the wrong one. It is a success. It's just a normal success.
It's just a normal success. You can tell that he's still caught up on that blood. Sorry, 1 second. When you brought up the blood, that bothered him a lot because he keeps saying again and again, it might have been blood. It might have been blood, but it was black. And he doesn't seem like something about the way the blood moved. He couldn't describe it exactly right. It's very much bothering him. And you're hitting like this was one of the things that kept bothering him. He just couldn't put words to it.
When you spoke to Ketchum before you left and before the fight, did he sound normal? Did he seem like he had his senses? Same old Ketchum?
He never spoke. During the whole attack, he never talked. And his men shouted things at him, but he wasn't talking to them. It seemed like they were almost expecting it, like they was afraid of him too.
Well, did it seem like they got some sort of response? Maybe not verbal. We communicate body language, a lot of things. People cue. I saw some things in the army, and pretty good communication. Did he gesture anything, or was it just nothing?
He would wave his hands when they asked where to go next, and he would give them orders, but it was like a man would command a pack of dogs. He just didn't care about them. I seen outlaws leading their men, and they can be right ruthless, but I never seen him with such disregard for his own men. They seemed to fear him like they knew it, like they knew he didn't care about them any more than he cared about us miners. And then I have to actually correct myself. I think he didn't say anything, but it was a clear order he did give. He pointed down the mine, and that was before he had even finished the battle, like he was telling his men to go into the mine. He seemed right insistent about that.
Well, we appreciate you all telling us what happened and keep this between us. I'm sure you don't want to run into Ketchum again. So.
We do not. We ain't going back to those mines until we know it's safe again. So we are obliged that you are here in town, gentlemen.
I understand you probably lost some friends to this outlaw, and do you know if these men who he came into town and took out, they had any artifacts from the mine?
They look at each other, and with the success we've gotten, Jethro, they look at you and they say, truth be told, the men who died when he would come into town, they were the types who would occasionally take a little bit more than the pay that was given to them by Twin Springs. Those men, I wouldn't have wished that on them, but yes, I would say that they were likely to be pocketing. Some of them we knew, the others we can assume as much.
Can you assume that of any other men who are still around, or does it seem like...
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. They will say, yeah, Paul out on the west end of town near the gorge. Paul might know where you might be able to get your hands on some of the metals still.
And I take out a piece of paper, I put it down. It's just, would you mind drawing me out a little route that way?
Oh, no problem. And they push the paper aside, make a left and a right, and you'll see his place straight ahead. There's about a little less than 24 buildings, and they are easily able to tell you the one with the yellow painted here, that you know where to go to Paul's place. He's Paul Newman.
Neon lights that just say Paul.
Absolutely. You think Paul Newman is a cousin of Bob's.
Does he have salad dressing?
I love his salsa.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm saying Paul Newman. I'm like, I heard this somewhere. So Paul Newman is gonna maybe have a little bit of this metal we could get our
Sundance Kid. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. And I think we excuse ourselves and start heading that away.
For certain, absolutely. And as you're leaving, you can see that she is getting control of the whole room, the bartender. And there's a old prospector type in a poncho in the corner who seems to have just woken up, to be clear, bringing us to his attention, I'm making us aware of him because I am just going to note he has a shotgun sitting next to him. But Billy Jiggle, as he is identified, as she shouts at him, "Oh, Billy, you calm down." He says, "I'll calm down when I want to." And Billy Jiggle seems like he is quite a character. As we are leaving, we do note he seems like a wild man in town. If we form a posse, would be a great person to include in any posse, it seems, with his shotgun.
He sounds like the best person in the
Absolutely. Wanted to just make sure we knew about Billy Jiggle. Absolutely. Gold in them there hills. And Paul Newman, we know we can go to his place, no problem.
Bushrod and Billy Jiggle.
I mean, I want Paul Newman on my side always.
Jethro, this stuff writes itself for your next book, doesn't it?
Yeah. It really does. We're having a good time.
So obviously, again, the meta now has changed. I'm thinking he did become... I think something saved him in that cave. I think a symbiotic relationship with some sort of alien species sounds the most
Venom.
likely. And the metal is what it consumes or what it requires to sustain.
Wow, I didn't get that at all, but cool. Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't get that?
No, I mean, I was actually still thinking maybe he's like crafting some sort of, he's imbibing it.
Well, that's why I asked if he said anything. Because
He's like
to me,
armor, body armor. Yeah.
the minute he said he didn't talk and that he only spoken, to me it's like, okay, this is no longer a human.
Right.
This is like an alien.
He's taken over.
I think it's like a Slither meets, type scenario where, yeah, he's probably trying to feed this symbiote or this thing within him, or he's just different, like he's not even him anymore. Regardless, meta-wise, now we need to find out as much as we can about whatever that is so that we can figure out how to whatever. But that's, again, a meta. And Cormac just sort of walks out thinking, I should have won that last hand.
Gotta let it drop, son. Gotta let it drop.
You gotta know when to fold them.
Someone should make a song.
Look, if Ketchum, I mean, what those boys said in there just sounds a little too far out for me. If he's a man and he bleeds, he should die. Whether that blood be black or what.
Maybe they should try to shoot him in the face.
And that's what we'll do if we have to. Well, shit, that's what we'll do.
Um,
Try that.
But regardless, it does seem like he's motivated to find as much of this metal as he can, and it seems like he has a way to do it. So I do think it's smart. Great thinking there, Jeremiah or Jethro. Can't remember who it was. It was a J name. Collecting all the metal we can and keeping it on our person so that we might be able to lure him to us.
My thinking is if Paul's in danger, is you know.
Well, that's just a risk I'll have to take. And I'll put
Should we
every
look
man,
at that
woman, and child
metal?
in danger to
Should we
get-
experiment with that metal at all? Like, should we see its softness or anything? Like, see if it can be broken off, or if it's,
malleable? Let's see if
Well,
we
my
can
thing
look
is
at
like
this.
if it's malleable, it's easily maybe forged into, or if it's super hard, it's not. It's already forged. It can't be reforged or something. I don't know. There's something to be said.
If it's
The
all
fact
person-
that it's a particular shape, I think, makes me think it's not being imbibed.
Toblerone.
I don't think it's being. I don't think it's being eaten at all. I think, or like symbiotic. I think he's crafting like a bulletproof vest or something. That's what I'm thinking. But
To me, the
All over
black, I mean,
balls
maybe.
and-
To me, the black liquid that poured out and then came back to him says, like,
well, do you know how they said it's like magnetic to itself,
yeah.
right? So that's
Then
an
what's the
interesting.
black?
T1000.
Black liquid, maybe once it heats up, like we found out a heating point of a
They
bullet.
said it came out of him.
You
Like,
shoot it, it gets really hot, it melts, and then it comes back in as it moves as a liquid.
Maybe. Either way.
Let's
same
shoot.
premise.
Let's
You
shoot
wanna
the
collect
piece.
as
Let's
much
see
as
what
you can.
happens. I don't know. I think we should shoot the piece and
Hold above
experiment.
your head.
Science.
Aim high.
It's a non-Newtonian fluid.
We should probably
Perfect,
go
yeah.
see if this Paul guy
Yeah.
knows where to get the metal and deals with it a decent amount. Maybe he's the guru to
Oh yeah,
ask
for
about.
sure. If nothing else, we'll get some more metal probably.
If nothing else, I'll break his hand.
Whoa.
And I think we ride off to Paul, or walk to Paul Hollywood's Newman's place.
Absolutely,
Paul
yes.
Hollywood.
Great British
It's
the
overproved.
great Utah, the great New Mexico Bake Off.
That's on the
Absolutely.
base. That's his.
And you can see it seems like a fairly small house. Obviously, just one of the miners who happened to be prosperous enough that he was able to build a little house, as opposed to living in one of the lodges where some of the miners are grouping together. And you can kind of knock on the door. It seems like kind of a one-room shack type situation.
So many miners in this town, so young. Like it's just unfair.
Who's voting?
Who's voting for this? Yeah, so we knock.
Absolutely. There is a gruff inside, but nobody answers the door.
Open the door, Paul.
Go ahead and roll an intimidate check or persuasion on that.
Sure,
Listen,
I'll do.
salad boy.
I feel like it'll be intimidation because that sort of is what I was going for. And no, that totally fails.
Ooh.
That's okay. I'm ready to kick this shit open.
You hear a gun cock on the other side of the door, and he says, "How about no?"
I just stand to the side of the door as Cormac is interacting with it.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I'll like gesture to Jethro, to Jeremiah, go around back, and I'm like, no need to get violent, friend. Just wanted to talk.
And
No
yeah,
need to open the door, but hear what I'm saying. And I'll like keep talking for a minute.
Absolutely.
Spot hidden of 26. Ah, shit. I'm gonna spend. No, I don't want to spend luck points on this. A normal success to like. Is there a back door?
There is 100% a back door, you can tell. He has a small yard area with a tree, and then there's the back door you can get in through.
And Cormac is just like ranting, like not. He's just being like talking slow. He's just kind of like, I was over at yonder saloon, and they decided that pointing me in this here direction is like the two are like walking
Yes.
around.
Would it be a stealth or a sleight of hand check to quietly open the back door?
Either one I would allow, stealth or sleight of hand.
I'll have to do stealth because I have no sleight of hand. I'm gonna
All
try.
you need is a regular success to open the door. If you get
Okay.
a hard success, you'll get inside.
Does the spot hidden check, did that account? Was there windows? Did I see anyone in the room to the back, or was there no?
I'm going to say with the success that you got on that spot hidden check, I'm going to give you the fact that there is the back door, but also a small back window, just big enough that you can squeeze through, no problem, but small enough. And you think it's kind of like, it's not, he doesn't have an outhouse. So you think one section of his room is the bathroom. So you'd be coming in through the bathroom window, basically. Basically an outhouse. It's like a teeny little room. You could get in through there though, and then he definitely wouldn't see you coming in.
Let's
is there
try this.
a stove, like a cast iron stove, heating this place? You think?
Yes, I would say so.
Beautiful.
It's a very simple, crude one and it's like the one piece of permanent furniture kind of here.
So Jethro will take out his firearm and look to Jeremiah and be like, I'm going to go in the window, okay? You hear shooting, I'm probably dead.
And you can roll with advantage because the window is such a good place to sneak in through.
And because Tim desperately wants to see this happen.
I really do want to
As
see
all
this
good
happen.
GMs do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with enough advantage, you can make anything happen.
I got a 24 on advantage. I'm going to use 4 luck points to make that a hard success.
Ooh, I love that. With a hard success, you climb into the bathroom. You're like on the seat, kind of. You know you can use this success now to open up the bathroom door, slip out, and be anywhere in the room with Paul Newman that you want to be.
Okay.
Can I retcon a little bit? I say, Jethro, perhaps we don't have to go to... Yeah, perhaps we don't have to fire our firearms at all.
Non-lethal.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know that's what Cormac
Also,
like,
Jethro seems adverse a little bit to shooting.
I got him,
animals,
guys. Bam!
So
Yeah, Jethro's going to be like,
Cormac was ready.
I've only pulled this firearm so I can make the clicky noise so that he hears me and knows I mean business. It ain't one bullet in
Just
it.
go in there and pull the chimney stack off of its flue, and then just smoke them out.
He might
Well, I'm
shoot
gonna be
you
in there
if,
with
he,
him.
if he hears that.
Well, no, you
Knock
come
him
right
out.
back out. Just open the flue and force them out of this place. I don't know. Is that going to work?
Okay, Jeff.
Am I overthinking that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
'Cause
smoke him
by the
out.
time it gets all soot-filled, then we
No,
gotta-
it's like bellowing smoke. I'm thinking. Is that wrong?
I think you just need to get... I think he has...
Yeah, you're right. I just get too excited about using.
It's very
I'm sure the
smart.
fire's going.
I know.
Very
I know. We'll do a zip line through. Okay.
I'll put a complex series of mouse-like traps.
There's 21 steps to this plan.
This
Follow
is
me. Okay.
what we
Step
call-
1. We need a young horse. Very young.
Preferably
Like in
very
one of your
small.
novels. This is called a Rube Goldberg machine. When I put up this...
So yeah, Cormac. Jethro will walk in, like cock the trigger and be like, "Sorry, what's the guy's name? Paul." Like, Paul, let's put that gun down and let's all have a good, clean, safe evening. We just want to ask you some questions.
Absolutely. You can roll intimidation or persuasion or charm. Maybe not charm. Maybe persuasion or intimidation.
Charming you.
Definitely with
Hey, Paul,
advantage.
baby.
You have advantage because you got the jump on him.
Yeah.
You know he knows you're right behind him.
Where is persuasion? Okay, I have nothing in any of these.
Really?
So
At fast talk, that's the one I always forget. I would just want to make sure fast talk isn't something because you definitely use that here.
I don't. The only thing I have is charm. So what is the rule of when that's the case, or is it just you're kind of so unskilled with that?
Essentially, you if you don't have training in any of those skills, you're just using the untrained number, which for persuasion is 10.
Or intimidates 15. Which
Intimidate
is
is 15, so that's
go for
the
intimidate.
number you're working with.
Yeah, let's go. All right, let's do that. 23.
Oh yeah, spell that luck. Spend that luck.
That would be 8 points, I think. Am I
Yeah.
doing that right, Matthew? Yeah, I'm doing that.
And obviously, if you haven't rolled 2 times, you can roll just to see, but yeah,
Oh, I haven't rolled 2 times. Let's go.
you have advantage on this.
25. How dare you? Okay, I'll do the 8 points of luck. to get the
Absolutely,
success.
that's the one to go with. For sure, and that is enough that Paul starts to reach for his gun, and then you're like, and you're like leading a little bit more, and he goes, "Well, all right then. If you don't hurt me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know."
Does he drop the
You work
gun?
for Black Jack. He is kind of gonna. He went for his gun, and then instead he reaches for his belt, gives it one pull, and his whole gun holster just
Yeah,
falls
and I think-
off. Basically.
And I would be
that?
going in and open the door for Cormac.
Oh,
So he
I'm
steps
gonna
in.
kick open the door. No, I'm ready to kick. Like Cormac hears it fall, like hears this playing out. He hears it fall. He kicks open the door and like walks in and like kicks the belt away and just gives the guy one in the gut. And like as he like keels over, he's like, "Don't you ever threaten me with a gun!" And like Cormac's like, he's sheriff where
Seething.
he's from. He's like so used to like people trying to threaten him, and he's like playing soft at the door, and he's like, "You fucking kidding me?" He's like just rails him in the stomach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the same token, this guy you think has been on the wrong side of a sheriff before, and so he's just like, all right, fine. I was worried about Ketchum. I know you're not working for Ketchum. That's why I had the gun out. All right.
And I'm in the back room using the compass thing, just finding this thing while they're doing that.
And sorry, Jethro, what were you saying? And
I just said, put your hands down, boy. Pick up your belt. Let's sit down.
Absolutely. As he gets himself settled, sits down on the edge of his bed. You can go ahead and roll. I'll let you use physics to try to pinpoint what you are looking for in this room.
Would it be so much to ask for an advantage because I got that wicked
yes,
tool?
100%. Sorry, it's so powerful now. This new compass you have is giving you advantage on this, definitely.
Well, that's pretty good already. I got 17 out of 60.
Wow.
Absolutely. That is a good, difficult success. And with that, you are able to tell it's pointing underneath his bed. You look under the bed, there's a box there, not like even a shut box, just like a box. So almost like kind of like a soapbox, I guess. I don't know if it's the right time.
The guy's like still facing up.
Oh yeah,
right?
and I'm not going to let it be known that I should just kind of lift it up so the others can see.
Yeah, and I'm like nod or whatever, and I'm just like, do you have any of the metal from the mines in this here place?
He looks at Jethro and at you with guns kind of like ready to go. And he says, I might. What of it? What am I? So Twin Springs is sending you after me instead of Ketchum?
I think Ketchum's going to be sending himself after you, son. You ain't careful.
I was worried about that when Reggie and the others bid it. Okay, yes, I do have some of the metal. And Ketchum seems to be hunting down anybody who got any of it. So I suppose I wouldn't object if you needed to take it off my hands. Honestly, I think it may be more of a liability than I'm willing to hold on to.
And I walk out and say, isn't that kind? And I give it to Cormac.
So he sees you make the handoff and he's just like, honestly, I'm starting to think I'm in over my head at this point. He really wants that metal. And the piece in the box that he's just kind of thrown in the box, what you're noticing about it is it's even more obviously fashioned than the first piece. It is obviously a piece of something larger, and it's kind of like a piece of like a sphere that then meets with like another curve, so it's almost like a chunk of a vein.
I'm thinking your very first thought seems more reasonable, Harlan, and then maybe like he's been possessed. He's not even himself.
Maybe I was right on both. Maybe there is an alien that's trying to put the machine together.
That's right. So he's no longer, he's just a puppet.
Yeah. Interesting. I tuck it on my person as well, if I can.
It's a bigger chunk, the biggest chunk we've gotten.
Is there an interaction between the two pieces on Cormac?
As soon as you take it, you notice something happening. The sliver is rising up your leg right now. This isn't just magnetic. This is you interacting with magnets. This is fucking.
Are you happy to see me, or do you got an artifact in your pants?
Yeah, that's good. It's a snake in my boot.
The piece of your sock just like getting a bulge.
Yeah. Ooh. I picked them up. Well, maybe it doesn't make sense to touch them. We don't know what happened. Well, fuck it. I touched them.
Okay, you take the two, and it's like even at this distance, you are fighting to keep them apart, and then thunk, they just thud together at whatever angle you have them at, and you're having trouble pulling them apart again. While all this is happening, the compass, you can almost put your hand, as you like maybe start to pull your hand away from it, it's just floating there, pulled away towards the interaction of those two. And then the moment you pull the two of them apart, almost like it's aware of that disconnection, like it's stronger the pull when the two are connected, then the compass like falls out of the air.
I catch the, that's crazy. So fun.
So we can disconnect the two pieces again?
You can just barely pull them apart.
Okay.
Paul is watching this like, what the fuck? No. I don't like this. He's also not that surprised he's seen some of this metal interaction.
Yeah, and I'm like...
he's seen it before?
in theory, he's probably seen
Yeah.
two of these pieces.
So I
maybe
slide
together in
the piece
mind.
back in my boot, and I think, and I'm kind of like, maybe it does make sense to keep these apart, just in case one of us gets nabbed and whatnot. Here, Jeremiah, why don't you put this on you, or Jethro, if you feel comfortable.
I'll keep the. Let's separate it. Let's each have an artifact.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just
I whisper to the others. I know he got off to a horrible start with us, Cormac. But Jethro, Cormac, I think if we need to form some forces here, here's a man who knows how to defend
I
himself.
feel bad about that. Let me write that. I turn and I say, look, Paul, sorry I punched you in the gut. Because there's a few things going through my head, frankly. Number
Not the
one,
first time today, actually, but okay.
number one, I thought maybe if you were dealing in this stuff, that maybe you were Ketchum's inside man. I jumped the gun and I apologize. Second, you're just so gosh damn charming. And when Tim plays you, I can only see Tim's face, and realistically, I hate it. I do not want to punch Tim. He's too charming of a fella. So I apologize, Paul. I tried to think he is someone else, but I didn't. Let bygones be bygones.
He says, frankly, it's all right. I at least appreciate the apology, and I appreciate, I wish I was Ketchum's inside man, then I would feel a little bit safer. As it were, I need you to take this medal away from me so that I feel a little bit safer now.
Paul, I reckon you don't have much confidence in the lawmen that have been through this town weekly, it seems, not ready to really do their part, but I think that perhaps your problems can be solved if we can work together a little bit here. We might be talking like sophists here, but I think we can convince you to see reason here and perhaps come to be a little bit more amicable. En français, je ne sais pas. Amicable. Yeah. There you go.
I reckon I could be right amicable, certainly. We could get things on a better step, perhaps.
Yeah, here, and I give him $1. Anyway, let's go.
I reckon
Chris silver dollar, sir.
There you go. Here's a nickel.
Look, it's
gosh,
night.
sir.
We're not going to be able to make it very far north during the night, I don't think. I don't know the land very well, but I think it makes sense, especially because it's the only location we haven't visited yet, to take a quick shut-eye at the hotel and round up a posse first thing in the morning. Or does that count? I don't know.
He says two things. He says, well, there's not much at the hotel. I know nobody's staying there right now, and Newton Earp, a nice guy, but doesn't know too much about the town. You're welcome to stop in there if you need rest, but also I know this. Black Jack is going to have forces watching the mine. He is not wanting miners to return anytime soon. It's entirely possible night might be the best time for you to get around anyone he might have on the road or on the trail looking to stop people.
Let's do this tonight. You grab your shotgun, you come to the saloon in about 2 minutes. You get ready to fight. And I think we start heading back to the saloon, and I get Jethro, and I listen, you ever heard of a crier? You know what a crier is, friend?
Hear ye, hear ye.
But Jethro will say, yeah, I heard of a crier.
Back in the old days, they used to be the person to give announcements, sometimes to stir up a crowd, stir up a posse.
Oh, yeah,
My
I
friend,
get you.
You are one eloquent son of a bitch. Here's what I want you to do.
Thank you,
and I place a hand on his shoulder and I say, we're going to go back in that saloon, and I want you to get up on that bar. I'll okay it with Ashley. And I want you to give the most goddamn motivating speech you can to every man, woman, and child in that there saloon. Because tonight, we are going to take Ketchum down.
I'm going to do this. I got one condition.
Say
You better make doggone sure Miss Ashley ain't going to throw nothing at my face.
Can't promise that, but I'll do my best. Let's go. Let's slap
That's
on the
all I
back.
can expect from you, friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like I immediately go to Ashley and sort of whisk her for a second and just kind of say something to her as, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jethro will be like, I'm going to go up on the counter. I'm going to walk along.
Do Coyote Ugly this shit, brother.
Absolutely. You were able to offer some help in the back while you two are taking care of some stuff at the back. She's like, wait, is someone getting on the counter?
I definitely sit down at the honky tonk and I play the music to his monologue. I back him somehow.
Absolutely. I'm going to say you're getting help from somebody. That's advantage right there for sure.
Okay.
They're already going to like what you're saying. You can just go for a normal success, certainly. But what skill would you like to use to make this speech?
If I can use charm, I'm using charm.
100% you can use charm, yeah.
So I'm going to say my piece. Jethro will stand up on the bar, and he'll have like a glass of whiskey that maybe was just sitting out. He doesn't know if there's something in it. He's not going to drink it.
Found it on the bar.
Cigarette.
Yeah, he found it. He'll stand up. He'll say, "Attention, friends! I'll say, look over here to me, my friends." And he will say, like, "For too long, this town has been beset on by the scourge that is known as Ketchum. Now, I know that's a name y'all don't want me to say. Y'all don't want me to cast aspersions on Ketchum lest he come down here with his wrath, and it will be strong. But I'm going to tell you right now, I got these two gentlemen here with me, Cormac and Jeremiah. And they don't take no guff from no two-bit bandit. Let me tell you that right now. With us three at the helm, I tell you, my friends, tonight, this very night, we are going to go out, we are going to find us, catch him, and we are going to put an end to his reign of terror. Let me raise a glass to our success, because I know it is foregone. It is a foregone conclusion that we will succeed tonight. My friends, stand with me. Drink with me. I'm not going to drink out of this glass because I don't know what the fuck's in here, but I want you to drink from your glasses. Raise a glass to the end of Captain. Yeah, I'm going to roll charm.
Absolutely. Please roll with double advantage of the musical background and
For the
that
double shot of
amazing
whiskey.
speech, 100%. All the whiskey going around. You get to roll 3 times in all. Take the best result.
I wish I had a more appropriate music, but
Got a hard success on the first advantage.
That is a creepy piano.
yeah.
Oh my god. I got a 6.
Whoa!
Oh, is that an extreme success?
It is. It is an extreme success.
Oh yeah,
In
baby!
that case, you are getting cheers from the whole crowd.
Oh no, you're
Oh,
muted.
no, you're muted, Tim. You muted yourself.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much for catching
Got too
that.
excited.
You are getting cheers from the whole crowd right now. Everyone is going nuts.
He don't even
Number
drink the stuff he found on the bar. Oh, goddamn!
The
You're
pitchfork salesman's like, "Yes, is my day." Woo!
You are getting carried to your horses. All 3 of you, in fact. Ashley, her name was Ashley, I think. Yes,
Ashley,
Ashley
yeah.
Harrington is not only approving of this whole speech, she apparently really wants Black Jack taken care of. She is
Yeah.
one of the people joining the posse, it seems.
Yes.
You have absolutely recruited her. You have recruited, of course, Billy Jiggle. Billy Jiggle would have been
He's the best.
on regardless of what role you got. You
He's
could have
like
gotten
ready.
in 96 and I still would have said you recruited Billy Jiggle.
You can't stop him from
You
coming.
cannot stop Billy Jiggle. Nothing can stop
I
him.
feel like he was trying to get up onto the counter with me. He was,
My gun is loaded. It is loaded.
Cocking his shotgun. I say we go to Black Jack and blow him right in the face. And he's ecstatic about this. We've got Paul Newman and Bob, who are the cousin Paul Newman,
John, yeah.
Bob Newman, and the other guy who had been with him, John. John, yes, absolutely, will be joining us.
Bushrod Johnson?
Johnson is going to be
Yeah.
part of this. And drum roll, please. We are.
Oh, wait, I
also
got
gonna-
it.
We are going to be recruiting another 15 men besides all of them. You got a posse that they believe
How's
right
your
now
day?
will.
Sorry.
They think that this is enough that
Any
we can
excuse.
take on the whole hole-in-the-wall gang. They didn't want
Oh.
to send anything less. They think there's maybe 20 members in the hole-in-the-wall gang. Whatever we go up against, this posse feels like it is going to be ready. They are excited for your leadership. We've got at least enough men to match his gang, we think. And so we are, in theory, ready to ride out. Where would we like to go? We don't
To
know
the
where
north.
the base is. We know that
We're going
it's
to the mine first or no?
somewhere to the north. We could go straight to the mine and see if we run into people along the way. We could
Yeah.
also start exploring north, trying to locate his base.
I think to the mines maybe first, because that could be, and then to the east from the mines. I think makes the most sense.
And lots of people, Bushrod Johnson, Paul Newman had already said this, but other voices are concurring. We should keep a wary eye out. Black Jack is not going to want anyone going back to the mine. He has made that much clear. And as we start to ride out, are we riding out in the night or only in the morning for this
In the
posse?
night.
And in the night, I love it. This posse is
Fueled
making
by
their way-
whiskey.
Absolutely.
Good decisions for
By
sure.
whiskey and
Yeah,
fear.
And you are noticing up ahead, there seems to be one individual lying on the trail to the mine, it seems. It's about an hour to get out to the mine, so we're hitting this person after about 40 minutes of hard riding. We are very close to the mine at this point, already starting our ascent, and somebody seems to be lying in the road, and then they kind of turn a little bit and wave at us a little bit.
Interesting. Can I do a spot hidden to see if I can see them through the dark?
Absolutely, go ahead and make a spot hidden check.
That would be a 16, which is very good.
Nice.
All right, is that a extreme or hard success?
That is a hard success.
With a hard success, you're noticing two things. This man is waving at us and clutching what looks like an injury, but it just seems like he's clutching it. You're not seeing any signs of blood or anything.
Yeah.
And then you are also noticing with that hard success, the way his hand is in his cloak.
Yeah.
Looks like he
I
has
turn to
his hand on the
Jeremiah
front.
even, and I'm just like, don't dismount. And I pull out my rifle, and I
Absolutely.
fire at the dirt like a foot
Make 'em
before his
dance.
face.
Absolutely.
Just to like send it up.
The moment you fire, suddenly he panics, draws his gun, fumbling backward,
Yeah.
and then from out of the bushes nearby, a total of 4 men with rifles start emerging out and firing, but it is clear they were not expecting this much of a posse. So what I would
Yeah.
like to do is offer us the opportunity to just do one big roll for our posse. And as long as we don't do essentially get worse than an 80, then congratulations, we brought a lot of people with us. The ambush is not nearly as effective. As long as the posse gets an 80 or less, they're going to take care of this problem for us, in fact.
Cool.
So whoever
Go
wants
for
to
it.
roll for
Yeah.
them.
I'm a volunteer
for it.
to not do this
I'll
roll
roll. I'll do it.
because
And I just say
historically, not
to the posse, I'm just like, pour it on them. And I let
Absolutely.
my rifle
Boom, boom,
fly.
boom. We just start riding out in all directions. They all start screaming, "Go get Black Jack! What are we going to do?" They are
Yeah.
like firing in defense at this point, but they didn't have a better plan.
And we did get less than 80, but not by much. So I got 76.
Then
Oh.
there are some injuries in the posse, but no death. In fact, there are quite a few injuries in the posse. Go ahead and actually roll a d6 just
Cool.
to see how many members of the posse are going to have to ride back. It was
That's not bad,
15 in addition to the named individuals.
Yeah, so only 5.
Only 5 have to go back, so we still have 10 unwounded individuals with us.
pour
So,
some whiskey on it, boys.
as well
Yeah.
as Bushrod Johnson, John, Bob, Billy, and Paul.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Beatles. This is great.
And, yeah, Cormac lays a few into the guy on the ground just because of, how cowardly the tactic was.
Absolutely, just boom.
It's like a
boom, boom.
fucking Paul Verhoeven movie where like the blood is just going everywhere. He's like, ah.
Absolutely. You see some of the other soldiers following your lead, like 2 guys on horses, just unloading their rifles into one guy in a bush. We have made quick work of this little attempted ambush. They were clearly not
Nice.
expecting us, and nobody escaped from this ambush. So we have a
good.
clear line of sight to the cave entrance of the mines.
Yeah, I think Cormac rides up next to them and dismounts and just checks their bodies, sees if there's anything of note. And if they're wearing any distinct,
Demonic sigils?
no colors, like if we wanted to, for whatever reason, do the Wizard of Oz, where we like go in and like are part of the posse. I'm wondering if there's anything distinct that we could abscond and sort of.
I'm going to go ahead and say that there are neckerchiefs that they have made up with kind of like, insofar as they have a uniform, this is one you could pull over your face, and at least at a distance, they are definitely going to maybe mistake you for their own members. Notably, also, you found their horses tied up nearby, and so those would probably, from a distance, be the biggest things that would contribute to a disguise. Little bits of their clothing you can get to.
Send me into home with their horses. Take their horses.
Well, that's it. So we give our horses, and we each take a neckerchief, and we are going to take like a 50-foot lead, as if their ambush succeeded. So that when we come back, if there are snipers or whatnot, and Cormac is like describing all this as he's like, like undressing the bodies and like hanging over. He's just like, you never want to ride back in a posse. You're gonna get sniper fire from the hills, especially when you come from like, don't touch that. And then you're gonna take. And he's like, just like giving out all these like, advice things.
I'm like changing like, so I'm gonna be the little one, or
no? Listen, we don't. It's not about to fool them. The minute we get up, it's. But what's gonna happen is they're gonna have rifles trained on the entrance to whatever place they're set up, and the minute that our people turn around, we're going to get our own set of attacks. If they're smart and they're in an advantageous position, so this will at least give us a little bit of leverage. And yeah, I think we take their horses back, as if... I think what I might even do is, there was about 5 of them, right? There were 4 and the one on the road. I think what I might do is I might throw one of the dead on my horse as if we're bringing it back to add to the authenticity of like, they're all dead and we are bringing the wounded back.
Absolutely. And we're bringing the wounded back to town in Desolation Peak, or we're planning on getting to their camp?
So
to the mine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to get... So the idea is this was an ambush on the way to the mine. If the ambush succeeded, what would have happened after?
Yes.
And Cormac is trying to put himself in the mindset of, okay, we killed the people that were approaching.
But we're
going to take the wounded and head back to camp now. And the posse is going to follow us, but like 50, 100 feet back. I'm picturing like a winding path. I'm not sure how it looks. If it's a straightaway, they'll be farther back, but to at least give us the ability to enter into the camp without being picked off.
Absolutely. Now, as you start to ride closer with this disguise, with the posse hanging back out of view of the mine entrance, it starts to become clear you don't see anybody guarding the mine entrance. In fact, the whole mine is giving you vibes of being abandoned. You're welcome to make a spot hidden check, but as you get closer and closer, you're not seeing any more hole-in-the-wall gang members.
I think they had a minimal force here.
I have a hard success on spot hidden.
So a hard success. You think you can actually see signs of where they came and went. They rode up to where we currently are at the mine entrance, but you can see that they have ridden. Anyone who came here has ridden away, it seems, and you don't think there are many gang members here, if any, right now inside.
Should have taken a damn hostage. I didn't think that far ahead. I was like so excited.
He doesn't care about his men.
Kill them. No, but they could have told us where the thing was.
Yeah,
for questioning only.
It's in character.
Yeah, it's in character, but it's also in character that Cormac kicks himself out.
Well, I pull out the compass and I see what is going. It's giving me a pull here. Is there any other direction that I'm feeling?
The compass is pulling you strongly into this cave entrance.
Oh.
Well, I reckon we should check it out all the same.
I agree.
I reckon your reckoning's good.
I reckon that the reckoning.
I reckon.
And as your reckonings all intersect, you are all able to start going into the mine, and you are noticing the signs of very abrupt abandonment. There are some like small mine carts, some tracks that lead into this mine, and you can kind of get a sense of where the more or less explored areas in this mine are. And you're noticing that there are some areas that are deeper where the mine tracks definitely don't quite go, and signs that little bits of definitely dynamite were used to blow up different parts and open up different areas within the mines here.
Is there any dynamite I can procure for?
You can try to find some. You're finding empty dynamite boxes, and you are also seeing signs of where explosions have happened, so you just need to find the actual dynamite itself. Go ahead and either make a spot hidden, unless you have a better investigation related.
Let's see here. Investigation would be... Well, I did a spot hidden, so I'm not going to be able to change it.
Yeah, spot hidden, I think, would be the best one I can think of.
I did 58. Should we use a lot of luck points?
I can take a look, too, if you want.
Are you allowed to do that? That's fine by me.
Be
Absolutely.
like,
If you say you're looking around for
I'm looking through the
dynamite,
boxes like, you see any of this lying around?
yeah, I got a hard success on spot hidden.
I got a 92.
absolutely. Ooh, okay, 92. That's not enough to cause any problems, I'll say that. And
This is a mine.
Is this one who's lighting it?
Absolutely.
What the
what do I do with this?
Birthday.
Hard
It's a funny
success is
candle.
enough. You found 1d6 sticks of dynamite. I'm
Very
gonna say.
nice.
Go ahead and roll a d6, and that is how many sticks you
4
found.
sticks of dynamite,
4 sticks of
boys.
dynamite. Love it. You found a small box that still has 4 of them, kind of like stuck together a little bit. You're able to take them apart carefully, and obviously, like, you can light these, throw these, and they will blow up on impact. That sort of thing. Very temperamental.
Cool.
These sticks of dynamite.
Yes, please.
I would keep pursuing deeper into the mind a little bit beyond
Yeah,
where
but I
it's
think
going.
we're gonna go stealth. I think there'll be a point where Cormac will be like, "Let's take quiet here, just in case."
Are we taking the whole posse with us?
I think they're gonna stay again about 50 meters back. I mean, I'm assuming we're not bringing the horses into the mines. I'm not sure how big they are, but I kind of picturing
The
more.
horses would have a lot of trouble in the
Yeah.
mines at one point or another. So you could bring in the posse, but they'd be on foot.
Can I
Bill
do a
the
tracking or a spot hidden to see if there are like recent footprints that have been back and forth through here?
Absolutely could make either one of those skill checks to see if you can find any footprints.
We'll do a spot hidden, and it is exactly my thing. 60.
I did a tracking and I didn't get it, so go ahead.
See the footprints of what you think are the hole in the wall gang and the miners, and you're also seeing that specifically there is one area that the miners went into less frequently, like it was a newer area of the mine, one of the deeper areas of the mine. You're getting the sense that it was more recently opened up. Now that's more about the features of the mine. Was there anything about the footprints you were hoping to find or anything?
I just want to know if there's any recent signs, any cigarette butts that might still be embering, or any torches that were lit, any plumes of smoke that might have recently been scorched.
Not really. Surprisingly few signs of any like burning torches or anything. You know that the miners abandoned this a while ago, and you think you can see signs of the battle that happened, but not really any signs of movement into here beyond.
Perfect. I just want to make sure, like, my understanding and my assumption is that they were just preventing us to come to the mine, but their main force is at their encampment.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to make sure that they weren't trying to set us up for a sneaky. Okay.
It seems that is the case. I'll also say one other detail that you're putting together. If there was a battle here, there should be more
Corpses.
bodies. If there are no
shit.
bodies, and you
Yeah.
can see where the bodies fell. When you put it together with that, you said just barely a normal success, all you know for sure is you can't really see any signs of the body being dragged away. Every
Cormac
time
says
you
that.
find where the corpse would be there, it's just missing. It's just gone.
Yeah, and I think Cormac, he's like down on his hands and knees looking at the footprints and stuff, and he's like, where the hell are all the bodies? But there's people died here. I can see there's bloodstains on the wall here, but all the bodies are gone. No
I've
dragon.
never seen nothing like that.
No. He stands up, a lot more solemn, and like puts his hand on his pistol and presses forward.
Absolutely.
Yep.
With that check, you can denote which are like the deeper, newer areas of the mine. Is that where you're heading for, or any other area?
Recently burst open is the one that's
Absolutely.
getting my investigation boner.
I'm also going to highlight, you've looked around very carefully. You haven't seen any of the special metal so far. You can see
Yeah.
areas where they might have like piled it up and stuff. You don't see any of it right now. As you get to the newer areas of the mine, you're noticing two things. Areas of the wall where visibly digging has been done very rapidly, very recently. You can tell this is where they've been digging the new special metal out in the past section of the months. The mine was running for 6 months. This is more like just 4 months of the mine's operation maybe has been dedicated to this newer section. And they were visibly tearing out all of this metal. You just see the areas where it would have been. You're also noticing something even odder that you weren't expecting. There are markings on the wall here. Ancient looking markings that seem Native American in origin. Etchings, but also bits of paint. And as you follow this newly opened trail, you make the connection. They dynamited a tunnel and opened up the cavern that you are walking into when suddenly you look up at a wall. Do you have a light source at this point? I'm going to ask.
We got like a dripping oil lantern.
There was a lantern like right by the opening, so you could have taken that lantern. You have it lit. As you hold up the lantern, you see a massive wall painting that stretches up far off the floor. It disappears into the darkness above this wall painting that seems so ancient it must be Native American in origin. That's your best guess.
What the hell is this? This was in the mine. He must have found something. I don't believe any of this bullshit, but obviously a man who dies in the desert and comes back as whatever the hell he is saw something beyond this world, something that brought him here, and we need to be on our guard. Can we decipher anything from the painting? Any sort of images that stand out?
You can, and you will all have the chance to do so in like the 30 seconds that you were saying that over. You're all examining it, and you're all going to get to roll, but it's just too perfect an opportunity not to take it. The moment you say that, you all hear a voice behind you.
Ooh.
And out of the darkness, Black Jack Ketchum steps into your lantern light. And he says, I did indeed. And go ahead, and you already had a chance to examine the wall. Go ahead and do that. See what you can discern from the wall. But you are standing in Black Jack Ketchum's presence. He appears to be alone.
Can a literature check be somehow stretched to cover this, or art and craft?
Absolutely, 100% yes.
What else would be, like spot hidden maybe? Or
Spot hidden would be the default skill, yes.
Cool, so yeah, I succeeded regular.
Absolutely.
I failed hard.
Ooh,
no.
91.
91, that's not enough to incur consequences, but it's definitely not a success.
Nope. No, it is not.
You guys have literature?
I don't.
I do. I rob books, son. One day.
does.
I got library use, but that's not going to help me.
I would actually say I'd allow library use. There's not really a lot of writing here, but you are interpreting a text of sorts.
I got a hard success.
Hard success. Okay, I'm going to save. You're going to get questions about this. What both of the brothers are able to tell is that at the very top of what you can see in the lantern light of this wall painting, it's not that different from what you are seeing on the clay compass, except it's not circular in its depiction. You are seeing what appears to be the surface of the earth, and you're able to pinpoint that because you can make out the mound that you just came in through, the mountain that leads into this mine. And then you can see other little geographical features on top of a line that you think is meant to denote the Earth's surface. You can see some of the Rocky Mountains you think are being depicted here and other big landmarks like that. But then from the mound, there is a tunnel drawn. That tunnel connects to cave networks that you think at the very top represent these mines, and then you think you can even make out the cavern that you're standing in right now. And then when you make that connection, you start to shiver because you are realizing that all of the rest of this is a vast map of massive caverns below this one. Huge caverns. Caverns the size of states, you think, if the proportions are correct. And there are caverns below caverns going down. You can see in the first big caverns you see what appear to be tall golden people walking around in cities that seem to be built up to the roof of their caverns. Then below those, there are other caverns that seem to be filled with these squiggling black shapes. Most of them are drawn as like 3-pointed like triangles kind of with 3 squiggles, but other ones have 4, 5, even 6 squiggles, and you're getting the sense of these amorphous black blobs that can have as many appendages as they maybe need, all congregating and carrying out activities as though they are people, like the tall golden people above them and the much smaller stick figures drawn on the surface of the earth in like Native American type settlements. And then you are noticing that all of the black squiggles seem to congregate around what appears to be a statue or a massive shape that looks to be a toad with like furry bat ears, kind of. I would like everyone to just roll a D100 and just tell me if you get a 1. This is a Cthulhu mythos check. If you get a 1, then you know what you are looking at. Otherwise, obviously, no, you do not. And if anyone gets a 10 or less, just let me know. I'll give you a little hint beyond that. Otherwise, I would love to know if you have any specific questions about what I have just described, Jeremiah, since you got a hard success.
My first question would be the statue. Are there any features that seem similar to the pieces we've procured?
Yes. What you are noticing is that first of all, the more you look at that thing, the more you are starting to think, no, it is not a statue at all, and that thing is not made out of the metal. However, when you start to think along those lines, you notice one cavern where it seems like, almost like in the presence of that toad bat creature, they are building something out of these pieces that you do think seem to be made out of the metal. Like it's for this creature.
Okay. Do I have any other questions or just the one?
I'll let you ask one more question, definitely.
The black squiggly ink thing makes me meta think about the depiction of the liquid that comes out of our antagonist, or possible. Is there an association that I think Jeremiah makes? Does the depiction that is described by the gamblers match kind of the symbolic depiction here?
You notice 2 things, first of all. The black squiggles seem like they congregate amongst themselves and then occasionally move further up into the other cavern areas. And when they do, when you follow their movement, like an Egyptian set of like hieroglyphs being depicted, showing almost motion, you see the black squiggles change so that they look like the golden people, or they look like the stick figures on the surface. And then you notice them fighting with some people on occasion. And when they do, they seem to grow appendages and attack and then change into what they kill. Because you see the fighting, you notice that the people fighting them are waving torches or other sources of fire to drive the squiggles back. And that is everything you're able to pull off of this painting. As Black Jack says, I'm gonna need you to hand over those pieces that you've acquired, I'm afraid.
And I feel like cinematically, obviously, I don't want to have this any mechanical advantage, but like cinematically, Cormac pulls his gun immediately and like aims it at his head, you know? I'm not gonna fire it, but he's just like holding it there, like in reaction to his words. He's like, what the fuck are you?
What am I? I am many. I am old. I'm gonna need what's in your boot there, I'm afraid. That's what I am to you. You can make a persuasion check on him to get him to say more.
6.
6.
Yeah, so
He's
like that's like
amused.
an extremely success. Yeah,
It's like he's
I think he sees
amused by
Cormac
this
like
conversation.
Yeah, I think he sees Cormac like fearful at his answer, and maybe that like excites him to want to make his mind more fucked up.
Absolutely, 100%. He just starts what seems to Cormac like inane rambling. He says, I am chosen. I am one with the sleeper. I am his servant. I have slithered the networks built by the serpent folk of Yig. I have dwelt in the pools, in the pits of Nakai. I have beheld the sleeper in his presence, and I have worshipped Sathagwa at his own throne. I am much more than you will ever know, but you will get that chance. I promise you all, because you will be one with me. And at that moment, his face just shifts slightly right along this line from his cheek here to right above his ear. Suddenly that whole portion of his head just shifts downwards slightly. And then the rest of his head shifts upwards slightly. And it all seems to bend. And then the features on his face seem to just start to fade and disappear into one smooth surface. At the point of the fissure where the two parts of the head split, there is just black ichor, and there's a tendril that is suddenly bursting up like a plant growing in fast forward. And he didn't have a gun. He had a gun out, I'm actually going to say, and he just drops it from his hand, and his hand's starting to shake. What would we all be doing now at this point?
I think as he was talking, Cormac like lowered his gun, just like totally taken away by this story. He's just like, and now I think Cormac for the first time is just like frozen for a moment in fear. He just like takes a step back and he's like not able to comprehend what happens.
Absolutely. I would actually love for everyone to make a sanity check real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oof, 96.
E6.
Oh, you have to get lower than your sanity,
Yeah,
don't you?
80, I failed.
You
yeah.
do.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
fail.
anyone who failed, please roll for yourselves a D12. And that is how
Whoa.
much sanity damage you are taking.
Taking that much sanity damage, Jethro has definitely just gone out shooting the scary thing. Ah! 12!
12 maximum sanity damage. I love it.
I took 7.
Okay.
I took 7, but my character is resilient, and I'm going to exchange luck points for those 7 sanity
Ooh,
loss.
I love it. If you lower it down below 5, then you will not suffer any temporary insanity right now.
I'm going to take all 7 off.
I love that. That's excellent. For the 2 people who got 5 or more, I would just like you to each roll a D100.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
80. Oh no,
85.
8.
And so an 8 for you.
8. Yeah.
Right now, you are doing exactly what you say, actually. You are just frozen in place, kind of staring, not able to take any actions at the moment, just frozen aghast. And Jethro, how did you do?
85.
85. With an 85, you are falling into a stupor, specifically assuming a fetal position and becoming oblivious to events around you now. I'm going to take it a step further with you. I'm going to say, as he's talking, suddenly you think the light is getting dim and oppressive in this cavern. And as you turn to look at the lantern, you don't see your friends. You don't see anything around you. You see a throne with a black bowl in front of it. You think you see a silhouette of a crouching, squat creature on the throne, and then from out of the bowl, black liquid just starts overflowing, and then one by one, the overflowing liquid starts to split off into different creatures that were all just merged into one big uniform blob inside the bowl, but they are differentiating themselves, becoming almost humanoid in shape as they walk at you like giant inky blobs. You are still standing in the room with us, but you're just staring at the light. Wherever it goes, you just keep staring at the light and not seeing what's really around you.
So, given what I can see and what I think is coming towards me, can I take an action for that?
Absolutely, yes, you can. I would absolutely allow that. Based on what you can see, I will let you take an action relevant to that.
He'll try to shoot all of them, as many as he can.
Then I would like you to roll with, just roll a D100.
Okay.
And the lower you roll, the worse it is for us. The better you roll, the better it is for us. But no skill applies to this.
All right, not terrible. Oh, what? Awful. 69.
69. I love it, absolutely.
It was 69,
I'm going to say with that, that's bad enough that someone on your team is getting hurt, but it's good enough that it's not one of your teammates right now. You have just shot yourself in the leg by accident while panicking.
You shot your foot off.
I'm going to say it's a ricochet. It's due to a ricochet. You kind of got hit by your own bullet, kind of. And so just deal 1d10 damage to yourself. That's all.
Yes.
Wow. Holy shit.
And does that bring me out of the kind of craziness, or am I?
I'm going to say it's your action. It's brought you out of your stupor. Cormac is still frozen in place. Jeremiah has the one chance to take an action right now. And just to set the scene, I will say while your friends are doing this, firing guns wildly, frozen in place, you see Black Jack just smiling, continuing to talk, taking steps towards you. He's talking out of his mouth still, which is slowly still on his face as it drifts away, but the rest of his body keeps growing more tendrils. If Venom existed as a character, all of us would be thinking, shit, it's Venom. As more and more tendrils just keep bursting out of his body and start arcing towards you, Jeremiah. What do you do?
I grab the bandana off my brother's neck and I pull it off, and I grab the piece I have, and I take a piece of dynamite and I strap it together, and I hit a light. I light off my pant leg and I light it, but it's a long wick. But I bend it over and I'm like, I know you're far beyond what we understand, and probably this is probably a foolish accident, but don't come any closer. I will blow this up, and I think you need it.
All of the tendrils that have been arcing towards you pull back like snakes, and as this thing starts to fall apart into one inky blob, still just keeping the Black Jack mouth open and moving and talking at the end of a black tendril. He says, "Don't! I can make you so much more. You're just one. Why would you want this?"
You have my brother. You let him go now. You understand? You let him go right now. And I go to...
You could be with your brother. I could unite you in ways you can't even imagine.
We are united in ways you can't imagine. He's my brother. He's my kin. And you let him go now.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's like a black tendril that was going up my leg, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're just creeping. There's just a puddle leaking along the floor towards your brother, and in Jethro's direction as well.
Listen to this. I got a 3.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulls back all of his tendrils and then reassumes his Black Jack form. With that, that's a 3 on Intimidate, right? You're threatening him? Absolutely.
Great
he
job.
reassumes the Black Jack form, and he says, "Now don't do anything crazy."
Have I snapped out of it now? Is like
You
the
have
next
snapped
one?
out at this point.
And Jethro, maybe, hopefully.
Jethro absolutely has snapped out.
Screaming. He's like, ah! I feel like Cormac is like holding the lantern, right? And it's like, I picture it dripping oil for some reason, sort of just, I mean, not really, but like thematically. And he sees his brother, and, you know, he heard all of this in almost like an echo, and it sort of, you know, brought him back to it. He's holding it, and he looks at the flame in the lantern, and he looks back at the others sort of slowly. He says, like, "Black Jack, you should lighten up." And he takes the fucking lantern and he smashes it at the feet of Black Jack. Because I'm pretty sure he said something about fire, right?
Yeah, we saw it on the
tapestry, on the wall painting.
And he just smashes it with all of his might at the feet of this creature.
Just roll a D100. There's no lantern throwing skill. There is actually, I think, a throw skill. So yeah, make a throw check. Perfect.
Okay, cool. My throw check. I have 20. That's my what I have to get. And I rolled a 13. Motherfuckers.
You see in his blackjack form, as you throw the flames towards him, at first you think he's not dodging at all. He just freezes in place like an idiot. And then you look at his feet. His feet have completely liquefied from the waist down into a wave of black, which is trying to pull away like gum, bending away from the flames. And he rises up almost Medusa-like on this tail of black ichor and tries to pull back, but it's too late. All of the black ichor that made up his feet catches, and like oil, it seems to spread up his body, and almost instantly he is coated in flames and begins shrieking. Tendrils shoot out of his body, reaching towards us. I need everyone to make one dodge check as they form scything blades and big brute arms trying to smash us against the wall, wailing. You cannot resist the sleeper!
I succeed. Cormac dodge rolls out of the way, and I feel like again thematically he pulls out his guns. He's just firing, and the thing's just missing him or whatever. But it's just you
run rocket towards him. You actually shoot the tendril and kind of break it in the middle, so the rest of the ichor just splats to the ground.
I failed
because Jethro shot himself in the foot. He's already, after seeing that weird bowl with the black stuff coming out of it, he just falls on his ass on the ground, and whatever's coming at him is going to hit him.
Absolutely. Did you say you got a 96 or worse, was it, or?
I got a 64. If it said dodge is half dex.
That is bad enough that on top of the damage you're already taking, it is going to be another 10 points of damage.
Oh no!
Is that enough to bring you down to 0?
I take auto 10, right?
Auto 10, in theory, yeah.
And do I take any more?
No more.
Oh, I am at 2.
Oh, love it, absolutely. So I'm gonna say this blade swung over your head and then rebounded and then just slashed and embedded itself in your chest and then whipped out. You are just spraying blood everywhere. It looks like you went down, but you're clutching the wound and you are hanging in there right now. Well done. And Jeremiah, how did you do on your dodge check?
Well, for some reason, I was able to keep my sanity seeing this stuff. I justified in my mind some fumes and stuff were hallucinating, but seeing the flames lick up all around me, that's what really got me. I remember the schoolhouse burning down, and this is just bringing me right back to that, and the fear just wells up inside me, a strong fear of flames, and I just freeze. I don't even dodge. I got an 81.
Oh, no.
With an 81, it's going to be that plus an extra 3, I'm gonna say. Okay! As just this one thin tendril passes over you, you duck you kind of freeze as it's rocketing towards you, and then it seems to at the very last minute you kind of flinch, and it cut along your forehead for 4 points of damage. You've got all this blood pouring down your face, but the wound is largely superficial, luckily. It was almost like a thin tendril that you thought was going to smack you, but it hit like a wire, kind of. It cut along your head, kind of. A piano wire. Ugh. And then as it continues to flail around, the formless spawn shrieks and then begins to decompose and evaporate before your eyes. Before long, there is just a burning puddle where Black Jack had stood. And when you emerge from the mines, I am sorry to say, you see what he did to the posse before he came in. There are no bodies left. There are only bits and pieces of their clothing and their guns lying around, the things that he couldn't carry. But you think that this thing devoured and absorbed the posse in their pursuit to get to you. And when you return to the town of Desolation Peak, it is alone, but knowing that you have stopped the monster that was Black Jack. Congratulations, everyone. That was the Outlaws of Desolation peak. Love it, absolutely.
Wow, Tim, that was such a fantastic game.
Blast. Holy moly.
Of course. That was an absolute blast. Man, what a great finale. What a great story.
It's kind of like there is a Black Jack camp and you can confront him there, but if you make it all the way to the mine instead and go that deep, it's like perfect timing. That's where we'll have our confrontation with him.
Oh, so good though.
No one's ever brought a posse along, so you've got the ambush taken care of, no problem. What you didn't see was him just going berserk on all the 20 people outside were just getting like spikes through their chest, decapitated, and then one by one absorb the thing style. So it would have been, it's kind of like in the movie, you would have seen that scene basically outside afterward maybe, but
been set to some music.
It's set to some music for sure, but that is the implication of what happened.
Jeremiah, Jethro, Cormac just go and drink whiskey silently.
Yes.
Well, Ashley's still there.
Jethro's like,
kidding.
can I get some whiskey to pour on me? I think I'm dead.
Yeah, you're pretty much.
That's right, you're almost
must
dead.
have. Yeah, you probably.
Oh, that's great.
Tim, that was an absolutely
Well
fantastic.
done,
game.
everyone.
Thank
That was
you.
a great session for sure.
Thank you so much for running that. First off, as a first-time Call of Cthulhu player, that was everything I had hoped for, plus more. I now know. I mean, we share a commonality, Tim, in a few ways now, which is amazing.
It's always my pleasure to get to run Call of Cthulhu. It's such a treat. I consider it, it doesn't get requested very often. So whenever I get to run it, I consider it really like the ultimate RPG for honing like GM abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're always improvising. You all did such amazing things where like I had to improvise. Paul Newman, obviously a made up name. We play Compass. I just made that up on the spot because
dope.
so well. But I'm like, I want to give you, you're thinking along the lines of like needing a compass. So let me set you up with that.
That was key.
And I imagine, some Native Americans have been like, if you do it this way, it actually detects things even better. And you essentially got your hands on that. But it was just creative thinking on your part that I was kind of riffing off of. Y'all did such a good
Tim,
job.
that is masterful GMing. Fantastic job. I mean, the stream goes crazy for you. And you got to watch what you say about enjoying the run Call of Cthulhu, because we will have you back as many times as you will allow.
So fun getting to play with Harlan and you, Gary. This has been awesome. I never get to play with Harlan, which is a pretty nice treat also. So
it's always either we're playing
Absolutely,
against.
that's a great point. Honestly, that's something I love about getting to step into groups like this is, the opportunity for game masters to play alongside their players. I appreciate how much fun that can be for sure.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely such a blast. This was so cool. And we absolutely want to have you back as, again, another player and another GM, and just keep playing with us, Tim, because this is so fun.
Definitely. Would love to do so at some point. That'd be great.
Good. Again, I need to shout out, please check out Tim's book. He does not pay us or ask us to say this, but I really do like it. That's why I'm saying
I appreciate it.
Wow. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure you check out all of Tim's fantastic stuff. You can check out the Green Knight game, as well as you can watch the Green Knight.
Can't recommend it more.
Follow him on Twitter. Is there any specific place you'd like people to follow you, Tim?
I mean, you can find me on all my social media under my name, Timm Woods. And if you go to timmwoods.com, that's where you can really find all my stuff kind of centralized, as it were, the book, the Green Knight stuff. And hopefully I'll also be putting up some links to this fun Invictus stream stuff as well.
Absolutely. If you're always welcome to. And again, sincerely, we need to have you back, because this was
Absolutely.
so much
I think I got the bug for some more Call of Cthulhu, so if I don't get to run enough of it, y'all may see me again for sure.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It seems like your friend joined the stream too, Kevin, so I appreciate joining us, Kevin.
Great to see you, Kevin. Hey.
And that is it from us. Hope you have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week with more Threshold. And as my good friend Chris always likes to say,
we'll see you around the table.
We'll see you around the table, guys. Good night.